Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto goes to Uzushiogakure during Wave Mission. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by MedrickLanster and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. A unexpected meeting with life and death? The land of waves, Nami no Kuni. A country once ravaged and milked dry by the tyrant, Gato, was brimming with life. Even in the cool night air of the fall, one could see a country that was truly alive. Many of the residents had packed it in and already went to bed, while others are enjoying the evening with whatever company they could find. Ever since Gato had been removed, the country has been able to bring more clients and tourists from all around the elemental nations to their happy home. The biggest attraction to Wave is the gigantic bridge that connects it to the mainland of Hai no Kuni, Fire Country. This bridge was the hope of the country, and the key to their salvation. Tazuna was the man who built this bridge. He carried the hopes of all his people as he built this landmark, knowing that Gato would do whatever it takes to stop him. Tazuna at times almost lost hope, along with the people of Wave. However, there was one person who revived their spirits. He gave them hope again. Hope in a brighter tomorrow, and the hope to fight for what you believe in. It was a simple boy, a genin at that helped the people overthrow Gato and take back their county. It was after this boy that the bridge was named after. So all would know about the hero of Wave, the one who saved them all. The one who gave them the ability to hope again. And currently that same boy was sitting on the roof of Tazuna's roof looking up at the night sky. Naruto Uzumaki continued to stare at the night sky with envy. He wished he was star, free and independent, without a care in the world. Just endlessly floating in the never-ending void of space and peace. He sighed tiredly. Something that felt like the 100th time he had done today. Things have not been too kind for the young Uzumaki. Then again, he can't remember a time when things were easy for him. Ever since the boy could utter a word, life had been difficult for him. He was an orphan boy that had no knowledge of who his parents were. Whenever he asked, all he was told was his mother was a whore who wanted nothing to do with him, and his father was a bastard drunk that got himself killed. Sadly, these were the types of things Naruto was used to hearing since he was little child. For as long as he can remember, he was hated by everyone in his village. They would either ignore his existence or glare at him like he was an abomination to the world. On numerous occasions, they would form a mob and chase him around before beating with whatever weapons they could find till he was a bloody mess. The hospital would rarely allow him in, and barely do a passable job in treating him. The worst beatings were on his birthday, October 10th. The most dreaded day of his life. The day the Kyuubi attacked the village, and was stopped by the Yondaime. The only way to stop the fox was to seal it into him. Because of that act, everyone now saw him as the Kyuubi in human skin and would do everything in their power to make his life miserable. That is how his life has been for the last 13 years. Hell, he never found out about the fox until he graduated from the ninja academy at the age of 12. Those genin days after graduation were probably some of the few good days he had in his life. However, his genin team was severely flawed. Sakura, his now ex-crush, would fawn over their other teammate, and their sensei, Kakashi Hatake, would favor said teammate, Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke was an arrogant prick that believed he could do everything on his own, and without the help of others. All in the name of getting his petty revenge on his brother, Itachi. That alone was huge understatement for what his team was like. However, despite the horrendous conditions of the team, there was some enjoyment with them and all the adventures they went on. Then everything changed when Sasuke tried to defect to Orochimaru. It was up to Naruto and his 5 teammates to find Sasuke and bring him back to the village. In the end, it was a grueling fight against his renegade teammate. What made it worse was that he had to hold back from killing the bastard for 2 reasons. 1. It would make the mission a complete failure. 2. The civilian council and the village would scream for his immediate execution. Because of all this, he lost to his teammate, as he succeeded in crossing over to the borders of the Sound Village. Naruto was rather down after arriving back at the village. He felt like he let everyone down, that he had failed their expectations. On the plus side, no one died on the mission. So there was some good news to this failure of a mission. However, things were gonna get worse for Naruto from here on out. While Naruto was in the hospital recovering from the mission, Sakura came to visit him. However, instead of worrying about his injuries, she berates him for failing the mission and not bringing back her precious Sasuke-kun. He could still remember what she called him. Wham! 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 The sound of flesh meeting flesh as Sakura's fists meet with Naruto's face. No matter how hard Naruto pleaded, she continued to attack him. As Sakura-chan, please Estio, he was cut off as she bashed him on the jaw. Shut up! She screeched as she continued to pummel the shit out of him. You failed. You failed. How the hell could you fail such a simple mission? You couldn't do this one thing right for me? For Sasuke? You did it on purpose, didn't you? You were always jealous of us, and this was your solution in getting in our way of being together. You can't do anything right. I hate you, Naruto. I hate everything about you. I will hate you with every fiber of my being for the rest of my life. Her screaming finally caught the attention of the doctors and nurses in the adjacent room. They all came in along with Kakashi. They were all horrified at the bloody state Naruto was in. Get her off the kid. The last thing we need is the Hokage accusing us of being negligent in our duties and having our heads, roared the head doctor of the group. Kakashi and the other doctors and nurses all jumped and managed to pry Sakura off of Naruto. The doctors went to Naruto to help him calm down from the shock he received from the beating. While this was going on, Sakura was struggling against Kakashi's iron grip. Let me go! That demon has to pay for not bringing back Sasuke Kyuin, she screeched at him. Kakashi just glared at her before. Slap! Sakura just stood there in shock that her own sensei slapped her. She would have screamed at him for the action, but his cold glare stopped her from doing that. Listen here, Genin. Naruto and the others were given an A-rank mission to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha. The same Uchiha that cared little about your feelings and left of his own free will. The mission was to bring him back with force being permitted if deemed necessary. And considering Orochimaru sent his 4 most powerful subordinates, force was definitely a necessity. Now look how all of them ended up. 4 of the 5 members are severely injured, with Choji and Niji at death's door. The only ones to come out with minor injuries were Shikamaru and Rock Lee. Had the Sand not sent their shinobi, we would be burying some of these ninjas. Ninjas that are supposed to be your friends. And what do you do instead of worrying about their health? You are beating Naruto for failing a mission that he probably did his best to not fail on. I was already ashamed of Sasuke, but now I am ashamed of you, Sakura. As far as I am concerned, you and Sasuke are not my students. You are nothing more than the worst piles of trash I've had the displeasure of knowing. Sakura just stood there in shock before glaring hatefully at Kakashi, before walking out of the room. However, she stopped at the entrance of the room before sending one last, hateful glare at Naruto. Filthy demon, she says before leaving the room. Normally, this would crush anyone else, but not Naruto. While Naruto was heartbroken by her words, deep down he knew that she would never feel the same way he did for her. He was painfully shown this when he brought Tsunade to heal Sasuke after his encounter with Itachi. Now all he felt was disappointment. Disappointment in Sakura and disappointment in himself. He thought Sakura actually cared about him, but what she did and said proved him so wrong. He had wasted so much time in chasing Sakura, because of his idiotic crush, but her actions had killed any feelings he had left for his pink-haired teammate. However, not everything was all bad. Tsunade was glad to have him back alive, and said he'll make a full recovery in just a few days. Kakashi had come in and apologized for his negligence as a sensei, and swore he would make it up to him. Naruto tried to insist he did not need to do this, but Kakashi thought otherwise. His first act of repentance was to give Naruto a scroll on nature transformation and manipulation, along with his signature Justu, the Chidori. Naruto was surprised, but graciously accepted the gifts. The next big surprise came in the form of Hinata Hyuga. After the incident with Sakura, Tsunade had decided that Naruto needed to be left alone to recuperate. Hinata had sneaked in order to speak with him. At first, Naruto was scared of Hinata. He wondered if she'll reject him as well like Sakura did for Sasuke. However, he was surprised when she wrapped him in a soft hug and began to sob on his shoulder. He could hear her say how thankful she was that he was still alive. She could not bear the idea of losing him. She would rather die than live a life without him. Naruto was shocked. He didn't know he meant that much to Hinata. He finally asked her, why did she hold him to such high regards, when he failed the mission? Then Hinata would say words that would forever be engraved to his heart. You mean the world to me, Naruto-kun. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you. A life without you is the same as being dead for me. You are my everything, Naruto-kun. Ever since you saved me from those bullies, I have always looked up to you in admiration. And as the years went by, it became something more for me. I want to tell you that I will always be there you. I will always believe in you, because I love you, Naruto-kun. I love you with all my heart and soul. Naruto was speechless at her confession. He never thought Hinata felt that strongly of him. He soon couldn't help it, but shed tears. But these were tears of joy of hearing someone say they loved him. Naruto told her that he was really happy to hear that, and wanted to give this a chance. Hinata just smiled and said she would help him to learn what it means to love someone. Hinata and Naruto shared their first kiss with Naruto asking afterwards if Hinata would mind being his girlfriend. She replied with a yes and the two continued to make out on his hospital bed. Hinata soon left and told him they will have their first date after he was released. However, things were about to go from bad to worse after he was discharged from the hospital. The minute he was released, the council immediately called him into a meeting and demanded an explanation for why the mission was a failure. Naruto questioned why they don't just ask Shikamaru, but they retorted that they wanted a worded explanation from every member of the recovery team. So, Naruto explained the mission from his point of view up until his fight with Sasuke. With great reluctance, he explained Sasuke using the curse mark and being forced to use the Kyuubi's chakra. After explaining everything, he hoped to get some recognition for his efforts, and hopefully some pep talk that he tried his best, and maybe next time there'd be some success. Well, did he get it? Nope. Naruto got screwed over once again. The civilian council began cursing his name and demanding for his execution for failing the mission. Naruto got very pissed off and told them all to shut the hell up. You ungrateful bastards. My team busts our asses to bring your precious little Uchiha back, and this is the thanks I get? You may call me a demon, but I'd rather be a demon than the filthy mongrels right in front of me. Needless to say, none of the council liked that remark and looked like they were about to blow several fuses. Before another shouting match could commence, Tsunade shut both sides up. Tsunade then demanded what the hell this meeting would entail. The old fossils of the Shinobi Council said that since Naruto used the Kyuubi chakra to create a chakra cloak and used excessive force against the Uchiha, the council sees Naruto has become a threat to the village and needs to be taken care of. They all announced that he needs to be punished for his transgressions against the village. They all asked for hands for Naruto to be banished from the village. Tsunade immediately protested that only the Hokage has the power to banish a shinobi, and even then she must have the majority of the council to agree with the Kage's decision. The Shinobi Council all smirked in victory. They explained that after the Kyuubi attack, the council took several powers from the Hokage, including the power to banish a shinobi. They took a vote and it ended in a majority voting for banishment, and that his contract to the Toads be terminated immediately, with Jiraiya forfeiting all rights to train the boy from this day forward. Naruto did not react to the sentencing besides bowing his head. Tsunade was holding back her tears, while the clan heads bowed their heads in shame for failing the boy yet again. The civilian and shinobi councils smirked in victory, until they felt an ungodly chaos overflowing the room. They all looked to see Naruto glaring at them hatefully. Many of the civilians began to gain from the pressure, while others were getting nervous, and the shinobi council looked unimpressed. That was until the Kyuubi added its own Ki, which knocked out the remaining civilians and left the shinobi council rather nervous. Before anyone could say anything, Naruto spoke in a bone-chilling voice. So that's it, huh? After everything I gave for this fucking village, this is what I get in return. I have sweat, bleed, and shed tears for this hellhole, and even after all that it's not enough for you bastards? Well, I hope you remember this day, because I swear you will regret this decision. That I promise you, and I always keep my promises. Naruto ends his rant with taking off his headband and slamming it onto the ground before leaving a stunned council in his wake. Naruto was so angry, he just wanted to scream out in rage and agony. However, Naruto held back the tears, because there would be a time and a place for it. Naruto quickly went to the hospital to at least say goodbye to his friends before it was too late. When he arrives, he sees all the rookies, their senseis, and the Sand siblings all together in a recovery lobby catching up. When everyone saw him, they were about to greet him until they saw his face. Naruto gave them all a bittersweet smile, knowing this may be the last time he sees them for a long time. Shikamaru swallowed the dread building up and asked Naruto what happened. Naruto sighed before explaining what happened in the council meeting and how it ended with his banishment. By the time he ended his explanation, everyone had varying reactions. However, the two biggest reactions he saw was anger and sorrow. Everyone wanted to march down there and give the council a piece of their minds, but Naruto stopped them, saying it would do no good. Naruto thanked them for everything, before walking away. Naruto quickly went to his apartment and gathered what little belongings he had before preparing to walk out before the council tried something. Right as he opened the door, he was confronted with the sad face of Hinata Hyuga with a bag. Hinata explained that the elders wanted to get rid of her, but her father caught wind of this plan and gave her what he could before telling her to leave with Naruto. Naruto did not want Hinata to be on the run with him, but he would be damned if he let those bastard Hyuga elders do something to his Hinata. The two went through a secret passage that he had discovered when he was younger, and were out of the village by the time night had settled in. The two made it to Wave in just 2 days. They soon reunited with Tazuna and his family. Naruto barred right to Tsunami in tears along with Hinata. This surprised the family, but they did their best to comfort the duo. They then explained what happened, and to say they were pissed would be understatement. They were downright furious, and swore they would make that village pay for what they did to their hero. The family decided to give the duo a hero's welcome, which the two were reluctant about, but they enjoyed it, nonetheless. It was there they were surprisingly reunited with the sound ninja, Taiyuya. At first Naruto and the girl were at odds with one another, but she explained after Orochimaru left her for dead, there was nothing left for her in Oto. So she dragged herself out before some travelings found her, and brought her to Wave for some medical attention. She was recuperated back to full health and decided to make a new life for herself here. Now, after almost a week here, Naruto had no clue what to do next. Iwa was out of the question. He had no clue if Kiri's civil war had ended. Suna would not be a good place to stay for the long term since they were allies with the Leaf, and Kumo was definitely out after what happened with Hinata. He sighed. He could always go to spring, but what then? The Akatsuki was still out there, and there was Orochimaru and Sasuke. So what could he do? He sighed again. I wish someone could give me a sign, he muttered to himself. Suddenly he felt a pull before he disappeared in a plume of smoke along with several other people. When Naruto regained his bearings, he looked to see himself, Hinata, Tazuna, Tsunami, Inari, and Tayuya in a blank void. Naruto-kun, where are we? Yeah, Blondie, where the fuck are we? Tayuya asked before being smacked over the head by Tsunami. Language, Tayuya growled, but stayed silent. Naruto and what is this place? Before he could reply, Naruto and the others felt a chill envelope their bodies as if death itself was right next to them. Oh, how they wished they could take that back. A booming voice then spoke to them. I can answer all your questions, mortals. Everyone turned to see something they were not expecting. An ethereal being with red horns, long, white muppy hair. He had a pale purple tint to his skin with black nails. He wore a white kimono with a knife in his hand. He had giant teeth coming out his mouth. The most striking feature were his eyes that were completely black with a yellow iris. Naruto could not believe his luck. Of all the places to end up in, they ended up in his domain. In front of them was the Shinigami, the god of death. They then heard a giggle around the void. Now, Shinkun, don't square the poor kids. I think they have been through enough for one lifetime. There was a flash of light that blinded everyone. When everyone regained their vision, they saw another figure next to the Shinigami. She was a beautiful woman in her early 20s. She silky black flowing down to her back. She wore a long, flowing black kimono with the sleeves detached. On her chest was light red ribbon with a leaf ornament at the center. Her face had a light complexion, but the most stunning thing were her eyes. They were a deep shade of dark blue like the night sky. Everyone wondered who she was, before she began speaking. Hello everyone. My name is Izanami, goddess of life and death. I have come here to speak to all of you. More specifically, I came to speak with young Naruto-kun. This made everyone, including the blonde tense, what could two of the Shinto deities want with Naruto? The reason I wish to speak with him is to offer him a proposition as the last heir of the whirlpools and the last descendant of the prince. Unexpected revelations and a deal to change. Naruto and company continued to stare at the two deities in shock, not knowing what to say. After all, it's not every day you get two important figures from the Shinto pantheon visiting you. However, the question they all had is what did they want, and what did they mean that Naruto is the lost prince of Whirlpool? Naruto wasn't sure what to think, but decided asking was better than staying quiet. Forgive me, Izanami-sama, Shinigami-sami. But can you explain what do you mean by being the heir of Whirlpool or being last descendant of the prince? He asked, genuinely confused about what's going on. The two deities looked at the boy in sadness. Both knowing how much has been stolen and kept away from him, but no more. They will no longer stand by and do nothing. It was time for a change. Before we answer that, Naruto, there is one more person that should be here. The Shinigami then raised his hand towards the blonde and held his open palm towards the boy. Naruto then felt an odd sensation as a red orb came out of his chest. The orb floats toward the death god until he squeezes his hand shut, and the orb suddenly glows brightly, causing the mortals to cover their eyes. When the light died down, the group looked and were completely dumbfounded by what they saw. In the place of the orb was one of the most beautiful women that any of them had ever seen. She was in her early to mid-20s with cream-colored skin, raven hair that went down her waist, and a revealing red kimono dress that showed off her impressive figure and assets. However, the most distinguishing feature of the girl was the black fox ears on top her head, the 3 whisker marks on her cheeks, and her 9 snow-white tails curling all around her. None could utter a word at the new guest with them. State your name, commanded the Shinigami. The woman opened her eyes and revealed her golden, slitted eyes. My name is Yoko Ari, queen of all the Bija. One of the 10 children created by Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of 6 paths. Everyone's eyes bugged out as they heard the vixen's intro. This was the Kyuubi? How? Since when has the Kyuubi been female? Although all the females felt some female pride knowing the most powerful of the tailed beasts was a female. Ari noticed the stares and gave a feigned smile. Do you like what you all see? Everyone, especially the guys, gained a healthy blush and did their best to turn heads. Naruto had to turn his eyes away since he felt wrong ogling at another girl, while attempting at being in a relationship with Hinata. Ari saw this and gained a very sly smile. She found Naruto's predicament very adorable, and decided to have fun with him and his girlfriend. She slowly walked towards the duo and then took Naruto's chin by her delicate fingers and turned his head so he was looking at her. Is there something wrong, Naruto-kun? She purred seductively. Does my human form not appeal to you? She purred out as she allowed her assets to jiggle in front of her vessel. Naruto could feel his face turn a new shade of red that could give Hinata a run for her money. He could feel his resolve being dissolved in front of the goddess/demoness. However, he felt his arm being pulled in between two soft pillows. He turned and his eyes soon began to bug out of his eyes. Hinata was clinging to his arm in between her breasts. But what was getting his attention was her face. Her lips were puckered up and she was glaring at Ari in envy. She was already self-conscious of seeing Ari's body, but she would be damned to allow the sexy vixen to take her sunshine from her. Naruto-kun is mine, Ari-sama. Hinata retorted with as much steel as she could muster. Naruto and everyone gawked at the girl's bold statement to the demon queen. Ari just smirked. She liked this girl's attitude. So many possibilities. You are him. Everyone turned to the Shinigami and Izanami, looking at the trio in amusement. As entertaining as your shows of affections are, we have a schedule to keep up with. Everyone turned to the two with serious expressions, none more so than Naruto, who wanted answers to their previous inquiry towards him. Can you please tell me what did you mean earlier? And why did you bring Ari out? What do you want from us? The two gods sighed before looking at each other, then at their audience. There are many reasons for why we have brought you here, and now it's time to explain ourselves. They then looked directly at Naruto. It's time, Naruto, for you to hear about the origins of your family. The two then created a sphere and set it above their audience. Behold the history that has been lost through the sands of time. The group then see a very young woman with snow-white hair, pale skin, and red lipstick and wearing a very formal, white kimono. However, what got everyone's attention was her eyes. She had the Byakugan. Everyone was surprised, especially Hinata. Who was this woman? Why did she have the Byakugan? And relation did she have to Naruto? Hinata especially wanted to know since she has never heard of this woman within her clan. Ari was looking at the woman in fear, knowing exactly who she was. You all must be wondering who this woman is, correct? Everyone, minus Ari, nodded. This is Kaguya Otsutsuki, the mother of all chakra, and the origin of the Uzumaki, Senju, Uchiha, Hyuga, and the Kaguya clans of the elemental nations. Everyone just gawed, while Ari nodded, knowing this already. Naruto voiced his questions quite verbally. Wait, hold on. Can you please explain this? And also, what did you mean by an Uzumaki clan? I have never heard about them until now. The gods waved their hands to calm the young blonde before pointing at the sphere. Long ago, before the elemental nations were forged, a long and grievous war was brewing by two opposing sides. The fighting had gone on for centuries without a sign of ending, and the very landscape they fought was being corrupted as blood continued to be spilled into the earth. There was only one place that was never touched by the war. A garden created by us. This was meant to be a paradise that only the most worthy would be able to find and enter. At the center of this garden was a tree. This tree was known as the Shinji tree. A tree that we, the very gods themselves, created. This shocked the group as they saw the massive tree. We created it as a gift to humanity. It was meant to be a symbol of our power, and to promote peace for all humans. It was meant to inspire humanity to push beyond their normal limitations and to pass this on to the rest of the world. However, there was one special feature that we included with this tree. Every few years, a very special fruit will begin to bear in the lower parts of the tree near the earth. This fruit was infused with our essence, thus eating it could a regular become a demigod. We decreed a law that no human will ever eat the fruit whenever the tree bears it. For some time this worked as no human ever tried to eat the fruit, regardless of how bloody the war went. That was until Kaguya appeared. Everyone tensed, knowing something was gonna go bad. Then a young demon named Kaguya came and wanted to end this conflict and unify the lands under rule. She defiled our law and ate the Shinju fruit. When she did, her already demonic abilities were amplified with the divine properties of the fruit, transformed her into something that was both demon and divine, yet neither at the same time. Kaguya gained the Rinne Sharingan from this and became the first person to wield chakra. Everyone became slightly fearful as they saw third eye emerge from Kaguya's forehead. They became even more terrified when Kaguya destroyed several armies off the face of the earth with just a wave of her hand. With her new powers, Kaguya ended the war, and for a time she brought peace to the warring nations and the world at large. She was seen as the benevolent rabbit goddess. Everyone, while glad at this turn of the story, knew this time of peace would not last for long. However, for reasons that we are not aware of, she changed. She began to become a corrupted ruler. She let the power get to her head. She believed she should be the sole person with chakra and began imprisoning humanity to steal their life energy. She would have succeeded had her sons, Hagoromo and Hamura Otsutsuki, not chosen to defy her rule. Everyone's jaws dropped at the titanic battle that took place between the Chakra Mother and her sons. The two managed to fight her off, until seeing her son's betray finally made her snap. She fell into a maddening rage of insanity. She absorbed the entirety of the Shinji tree into her own being. She went into a terrifying transformation into a monstrous form that suited her persona as the devil rabbit goddess. Her new form took a nightmare human form with a flower bud on her back, and 10 tails swaying behind her. From then on she became the Jubi, the 10-tailed beast. Everyone stared in fear at the monstrosity. Hinata cuddled to Naruto in fear. Ari stared at the monster Kaguya turned into, having a wave of fear and nostalgia hit her. Her time before becoming a bijou was limited, but there were bits and pieces she still remembered. One was remembering the power that Kaguya oozed out could be felt even in hell. The two brothers fought their mother off for days. The very land they fought her in was split into numerous pieces. The sky cracked and the ocean stormed in wake of their battles. Eventually the brothers succeeding in sealing her in a large planetoid while draining her out, leaving her powerless. The planetoid went up to orbit and became part of the moon. The two absorbed the power into themselves, although Hagoromo took the majority of the Jubi's power into himself. By this point, everyone's jaw couldn't go any further down, and just decided to listen in on where this history lesson was going. As time went on they began to teach the world of Nishu to become a part with the natural energy of the world and use the energy they have within themselves to better understand the world around them along with each other, and most importantly, themselves. Eventually Hamura left to the moon to watch over his mother with a select group of followers. However, he did leave a family of supporters to continue his beliefs. These people would later be known as the Hyuga clan. Hinata's eyes widened. Her clan never told her about this. Hell, her clan never even spoke of Kaguya. She wouldn't be surprised if the so-called elders decided any history that they didn't like be erased so they could keep dominance within the clan. As time goes on, Hagoromo had 2 sons, Indra and Ashura. Indra gained Hagoromo's eyes and incredible intellect. He believed that through power, peace can be achieved. His brother obtained his father's body. This gave him incredible stamina and longevity that could not be matched by anyone. He believed it was through love and understanding that people can come together. When the time came to choose a successor, he believed Ashura should be the heir. However, Indra did not accept this. He felt Ashura stole what was rightfully his birthright. This led to a battle between the two that would continue on with their descendants. Before he died, Hagoromo, getting an idea from Ashura, took the Jubi's power within him and split the power into 10 separate powers. However, he needed sentient beings to truly take the power. So, he summoned 10 demons from hell to do this. One of these 9 was Ari. Thus the bijou came to being. From 0 tails to 9 tails. His last act was to ask the bijou to watch over humanity, and wait for the person that would once again bring them together. Wait, what? There were 10 bijou? They never even heard about a 0 tails even existing. Talk about shock to the system. However, humanity feared the bijou and treated them as if they were abominations. The constant hatred and rejections corrupted them and they became the so-called nightmarish monsters that you know today. However, while this was going on, the families of Indra and Ashura continued to fight against one another. As time passed, their descendants continued this feud even though the cause was lost as time went on. These two families will later become known as the Uchiha and Senju clans. Everyone wasn't surprised since they knew the clans had to come up eventually. Naruto, however, still had a bit of impatience eating at him. Wait, how do the Uzumaki come into this? The gods looked more amused than annoyed at the interruption. We were getting to that. Naruto blushed in embarrassment, while Hinata rubbed his back to calm his nerves. Anyway, one of Ashura's direct descendants had 2 children, twins. The younger sibling did not believe in the senseless fighting between the two families, and took those that also followed her belief and left to live somewhere far from the fighting and to live in peace. They all went into an island that was deeply rooted in the spiritual plane, and prayed for guidance on what they should do. That is when we appeared before them. We also did not see fit with the constant fighting of the two families. We feared one day, Kaguya may use this as an opportunity to come back through one of her descendants. We asked them to be our representatives to help keep the other families at bay, while not succumbing to either of the family's ideals. They agreed as long as we agreed to protect all future descendants of their new family. We blessed them with a portion of our spiritual powers, which caused their stamina and longevity to increase even more. Their bodies become much more durable along with an incredible healing factor. Our blessing also caused their hair to turn different shades of red. A sign they took as a form of their new allegiance, their new family. They gained the ability to fight evil spirits/demons, and created a fighting style that had the grace and power of a god, but the ferocity of a demon. This is how the Uzumaki clan came to be. Naruto and the others stared at the deities after what they just heard. To think that 5 of the most famous/infamous clans in the elemental nations came from one being was insane. However, something clicked in Naruto's head about the Uzumaki clan and connecting it to a certain red head in the void. Wait, if all Uzumakis have red hair, does that mean that The gods nodded. Yes, Naruto, that makes you and Tayuya originate from the same clan. You two are family. This shocked everyone in the void, especially the aforementioned relatives. The two continued to look at one with shocked awe. The two never knew anything about their families on either side of their parents, so this was startling revelation. Naruto always tried asking the Sandaime if he knew anything about his family, but he would always tell Naruto that they died in the Kyuubi attack, and they loved him very much. That was it, he never got anything else about his family, hell, not even about his other relatives. Hell, he was never told anything about having a clan. Knowing that he had a family all this time, he couldn't but feel betrayal and anger against the Sandaime for keeping such things from him. Things he had a right to know. What got him angrier is that Kakashi, Tsunade, and Jiraiya probably knew about his clan, and yet they also told him nothing. Naruto made a personal promise to get them back later for their lies. Tayuya was having her own thoughts on this revelation. She never knew anything about her family, hell, she did not know she was even from a clan. The only thing she had from her parents was her flute that she always carried along with her. The one thing she did remember is that she always lived on the streets due to her parents dying at a young age, until Orochimaru found her. After that, it was training and experimenting on her body and the other test subjects until she reached her current situation in Wave. Now then, much time passed until we get to the founding of your village and the first Hokage being chosen, Hashirama Senju. However, the Uchiha leader at the time, Madara Uchiha, was not keen at the way things were going for the village, especially for the Uchiha clan. Eventually he would leave the village when the Nidaime Hokage was nominated. This would lead to the legendary battle between the two strongest shinobi of their times. The clash created what is now known as the Valley of the End. This leads to the current descendants of Indra and Ashura. That person is you, Naruto. Everyone could not believe what they were hearing. Naruto was from a long line of family rooted in spiritual world. Not to mention he's basically the descendant of the first person to hold title of God of Shinobi. While they understood Ashura, how was Naruto related to Indra? Wait, I understand everything you just said, but how am I related to Indra? Shouldn't I only be related to Ashura, because of my connection to the Senju and Uzumaki clans? Naruto asked, generally confused. The Shinigami answered. The answer is simple. You are part of the Uchiha clan on your father's side of your family. Naruto's eyes widen. My father? With uncertainty. Hinata looked at her boyfriend, sadly. She knew how much it meant to him to know any little detail that involved his parents. Any orphan would be like that. But Naruto was much more serious since he was constantly hated and told vulgar lies about his parents. Everyone called his mother a strung-up whore that wanted nothing to do with him, and his father was a deadbeat bastard that cared little of him or his mother, and probably died in a ditch like the pathetic loser he was. Now he finally might get answer on who his parents were. The two gods nodded sadly. Naruto, the revelation of your parents begins with the most important day of your life. The date of your birth. The orb then glowed before everyone saw a woman appearing in the screen. She had long, crimson hair with violet eyes. Her face was contorted in pain. Everyone's eyes widened as they realized who this was: Naruto's mother, Kushina Uzumaki, giving birth to him. The orb then turned its attention to another. This was a man with spiky blonde hair and blue hairs. He was telling the woman to keep going and that he'll hold the seal. Everyone's eye nearly popped out as they realized that Naruto's father was Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime, and he was keeping the seal of the Kyuubi in check. Suddenly after Naruto was born, a masked man took him and held him for ransom, and Minato managing to rescue him from dying. The scene cut to Ari being ripped out of Kushina by the man's Sharingan, and then forced her to attack her previous vessel. Her husband saving her, and then engaging the masked man and the Kyuubi in combat. Minato managed to free Ari from her mind control, but she was still in a psychotic rage and continued to destroy the village. Minato summons Gamabunta to hold the Ari down, and teleporting them to his last location. Kushina holding Ari with her chains. Minato deciding to seal her in Naruto, and incorporating their chakra in the seal so they can see him again when he is older. Minato summons the Shinigami, and seals half the Kyuubi in himself, and then prepares to seal the second half. Kushina starts to lose control and her chains soon began to loosen. Ari tries to kill Naruto, but Kushina and Minato jump in the way, stopping her claw. The two then say their last heart-filled words, and say that no matter what happens, and whatever he becomes, they will always love him. Minato then begs Naruto for forgiveness, knowing the life he will live, but has faith in his godparents and his student, Kakashi, and the Sandaime to take care of him. He tells his son he believes he will arise to greatness and to become something greater than he ever was, whether good or bad is irrelevant. All he wishes is that he tries to live a life of peace and to try to have a family of his own. Their final words are to live long and happy, and remember, they will always be watching him. Naruto had no clue when he began crying, but he did not stop them as he let the information he was told sink in. His father was Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime. The same man who sealed the Ari within him. He was honestly happy to know his family after being left in the dark for so long about. That didn't stop the growing lump of hatred and bitterness at not only Konoha, but also those close to him. How many knew the truth? How long were they going to keep this from him? Were they ever going to him the truth, or would they lie to him until they felt like talking? Naruto then felt two pairs of arms encircling him and bringing him into a hug. He turned to see Hinata and Ari giving him a hug. Naruto-kun, I know you are feeling a lot of things, but we need to finish hearing what Shinigami-sama and Izanami-sama have to say. She's right, Kit. So clean your nose and wipe the tears. The son of the yellow flash and red sea of carnage should have his head held high. Naruto chuckled, but then heard a gasp from the two and saw them looking straight at him. What? He asked. Naruto-kun, why your eyes? They changed. Naruto's eyes changed, before taking out a kunai and looking at his reflection on it. His eyes widened when he saw what was looking back at him. His eyes were no longer a deep shade of blue. They were now a blood red with one tomo on the left eye, and two tomo on the right eye. Naruto was speechless. Sharingan, he whispered. Well, this was an expected surprise. Naruto looked at the two gods. Huh! You see, Naruto, one of the many ways to unlock the Sharingan is through an emotional or traumatic experience. The reaction of seeing your parents and their death must have awakened it. Wait, if that is true, why did it never awaken before? I have been through enough shitty situations up until now. Why is it only waking up now? Naruto asked, generally confused, not noticing Tsunami's glare. Cough, that may be because of me. Naruto turned to Ari, that was sheepishly scratching the back of her head. What do you mean, Ari-chan? Naruto asked curiously. Well, because of me being sealed within you, it's possible that my presence within you suppressed your bloodline from activating. Wait, if that is true, what about my Uzumaki bloodline? Ari shrugged her shoulders. Best guess is that you are the first Jinchuriki to be the child of my previous vessel. So as you developed in your mother's womb, my chakra entered your body, helping in your development, which gave you a much higher chakra capacity even for Uzumaki standards. So your body was more accustomed to my chakra than any other Jinchuriki. Not to mention, how are you gonna activate a bloodline if you don't know you about it? Hell, I didn't even know your father was part Uchiha until now. Naruto thought about this explanation before nodding. Well, I can't exactly blame, considering all the shit you have been through and you honestly didn't know. So I guess I can let this go for now. Ari smiled in gratitude until Tsunami smacked Naruto upside the head with a frying pan. Oh. What the hell, Tsunami? Only to be smacked again by a growling Tsunami. Language, Naruto. I will not have you corrupt Inari with that foul mouth from either you or Tayuya. Am I clear? She hollered with Naruto frantically nodding while everyone else sweat dropped. Where did she get the frying pan from? Was the only thought the other occupants had. The Shinigami coughed to get the attention back to the matter at hand. Naruto, now the reason we have called you here is to give a warning. A darkness is approaching, one that threatens not only the elemental nations, but the rest of the world. You are the only one that can stop this. Naruto looked at the two gods as if they had gone insane. What could an exiled genin do against a threat that will destroy the elemental nations? No amount of shadow clones and Rasengan spamming will stop them. But I am just a kid with barely any training, what can I achieve on my own? My dear boy, you underestimate the ripples a single person can make to the rest of the world. You have already done many amazing feats for such a young child. Would this be any different for you? You are meant for great things, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and we never said you will be alone. Naruto thought about all the things he has done so far in his career. He inspired a wave to stand up for themselves and to fight for their freedom. He helped Shibuki become the leader of the Waterfall Village. He helped Gaara find a new purpose in life. He got Tsunade out of her depression to become the 5th Hokage. He helped save another country with the mission in Snow/Spring and got Koyuki out of her funk to become the ruler of her people while also dethroning her evil uncle. Finally, he helped save the land of Tea from being controlled by a shatty and corrupted family. However, he got confused by her last statement. You forget all the allies you've made all around the elemental nations and you have forgotten about your missing Uzumaki brethren? Everyone's eyes widened. What? Naruto screamed. Indeed, Naruto, your clan still exists, but they have been scattered throughout the elemental nations and have gone into hiding to avoid detection. Many fear if they are found out, they'll be captured and experimented on, or worse yet, turned into breeding machines. We ask this of you, Naruto. Find your missing brethren and rebuild Yuzu to its former glory. Together with the new Yuzu and your allies, you should be prepared for the upcoming darkness. You may have been denied being Hokage, but being Yuzukage sounds much more appealing, wouldn't you say? Naruto stayed silent, considering the words. He was really liking the deal he was being given. Unite his family once again, and fight off whatever this darkness that was approaching. Like the two said, being the best Hokage may be out of his reach, but he can be the best Uzukage that surpasses all other Kages in all the elemental nations. He looked to see that everyone was waiting for his answer. He could see that they will stand by whatever decision he makes. He turns to the Shinigami and Izanami. I accept your conditions and I swear to revive my clan and homeland to their former glory. Yuzu will rise again and I will be the greatest Kage to ever set foot in the elemental nations. You have my word to Bayo. Everyone smiled at the fire that was in the boy's eyes. Good, now just some last-minute things have to be addressed, Shinigami said as the two gods snapped their fingers and two giant scrolls appeared. The scrolls then floated until they dropped in front of Naruto. Naruto, these two scrolls contain everything that your parents accumulated in their shinobi career. Use them wisely. Naruto nodded before another scroll appeared in front of his line of sight before falling into his hands. That scroll will assist you in training your Sharingan and the Byakugan for your Hyuga girl. Naruto and Hinata nodded in gratitude. The two gods then created two orbs of energy before they entered Naruto's body. Naruto glowed for a bit before it vanished once again. That was a gift from us to you. We hope the power we gave you will come in handy. We have provided a scroll to help you to learn to master the new powers we've granted. Naruto nodded in gratitude. Oh, we almost forgot to tell you that since you are the heir, you would fall under the CRA, so you will need multiple wives to help revive the clan to some extent. Naruto and Hinata blushed crimson red, while Ari giggled pervertedly. But I am dating Hinata now. I don't want to be unfaithful to her. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to Hinata, that seemed to blush even more. I wouldn't mind sharing you with others, as long as you don't go too crazy. It could be fun to have more than one girl with us. Naruto and the other mortals just stared slack-jawed at what the young Hyuga was implying, and the other two mortal females had a noticeable blush on their faces. Ari just giggled even more, while the gods looked amused. Yay, I'm gonna have a lot of kitlings to spoil for many years. She cheered happily. This caused Naruto and the other females to blush even more, with Tazuna laughing, Inari looking confused, and the gods looked close to bursting a gut from the contained laughter. The Shinigami then summoned a crimson orb and sent it into Ari, who glowed for a few minutes before going back to normal. While she looked the same, Ari could feel something different. She felt complete. She felt whole once again. Hers widened when she realized what the Shinigami had done. He had given her the half that Minato sealed within himself. This means she had both sides of her chakra back and she felt incredible. She was even more powerful than she was when she was first sealed in Mito. This was due in part to her restoring nearly all of her power in her time being sealed in Naruto. Now she felt like she could take on Madara without any trouble. Hell, maybe she could fight an incomplete form of the Jubi. But she knew such a gift comes with a price. Ari. The vixen looked up to the visage of the impassive face of the Shinigami. As a show of good faith, I have given back the power that I took from you. This is a peace offering for your second chance. I am also changing the seal, allowing you to come out when you like and to change the mindscape to whatever you like. Naruto will also get the key to the seal, and it will be up to him when the seal will be unlocked. Ari bowed in gratitude toward the death, since he had no direct obligation to do this for her. However, Ari looked up to the cold visage of the death god. Remember, we are giving you this chance to live in peace. If you try to take advantage of Naruto or his loved ones, know that no power you obtained will protect you from my wrath. Do you understand, Yoko Ari? Ari nodded very quickly, being very scared of the death god at that moment along with the mortals. The gods then turned their attention back to the mortals. Now Naruto, we will be sending some allies to help you along with your journey. They will prove to be powerful allies, but you must show them that their loyalty will not be misplaced. Do you understand? Naruto nodded. Well, Naruto, this is goodbye for now. Good luck, young prince, and remember that the gods and your clansmen will always be with you. There was a flash of light that blinded everyone. When Naruto regained his bearings, everyone was in the living room of Tazuna's house with an extra occupant, Ari. So that was not a dream? Inari asked. Naruto shook his head. No, let's get some sleep and we will figure out everything tomorrow. Everyone nodded and each went to their beds to let their minds digest the information they were given. Naruto and Hinata shared one bed. As he closes his eyes, one thought was on his mind throughout the whole. I'll make you proud, Ka-chan. Tu-chan. Yuzu will rise again. Now on with the chapter. Returning to a ruined homeland. Wham! Damn it! Naruto shouted. Again, Kit! Roared Ari. Naruto grunted before getting up again with his Sharingan active, attempting to track the movements of the fox girl. Naruto then created several shadow clones as they all began to encircle the vixen. Ari looked amused, waiting to see which will make the first move. One of the clones made the first move, right on, Zakir! Screamed the clone as he fired arc of lightning from his mouth toward the vixen, who lazily slapsticked it away as it exploded off to the side and creating a cloud of smoke that covered the area. Ari was undeterred and continued to wait for her kit's next move. She did not need to wait long as a volley of over 40 shuriken and kunai came flying her. She quickly took notice of the tags on the flying projectiles before cocking her arm and swinging forward while shouting, "QB Twister!" A powerful whirlwind formed, catching all the kunai and shuriken before they all exploded in a flash of light. Ari quickly covered her eyes so she would not be blinded by the flash of light. She hears a twitch from behind her and uses her tails to attack the assailant. She turned to see 3 of her tails had impaled 4 of the clones Naruto made. 2 more came in from the sides to attack her. The 2 began to engage the vixen in a series of taijutsu, but it was still child's play for the fox to parry, block, and counter each one of the clones' attacks. Ari finally grabbed the 2 by the neck and snapping them, and causing them to pop. "Well, Kit, what's next?" 3 of the clones raised their arms and created a Rasengan in each of their hands. The 3 charged at the vixen, who was prepared to counter this rush assault, but got a surprise when the clones slammed the Rasengans to the ground, causing a crater to form. The shockwave caused Ari to falter for a few seconds, but it was enough for the original to come and throw a right hook at Ari. The Raven vixen barely managed to move as the attack grazed her cheek. She retaliated by throwing a right hook at the blonde. Naruto could see the fist as it slowly inched closer and closer to his face. His eyes followed the movement as it continued towards him. Naruto could feel the strain in his eyes, but pushed past it and forced his body to react to the image that was being poured into his brain. As the fist made its final arc, Naruto managed to tilt his head as the fist passed by his cheek. Naruto felt excitement flow his body. He did it! He finally got his body to react to his Sharingan visual prowess. He now understood how much trouble Sasuke had when he fought Rock Lee. However, his glee of victory disappeared in an instant as he felt his gut exploded in pain from a fist being slammed into him. The next thing he felt was being sent flying back and slamming into a tree. Hard. "Gah!" he cried as he coughed up blood. "Naruto-kun!" Hinata screamed in worry. Ari sighed before relaxing from her battle stance. "Hinata, go check on him, we are done for now." Hinata did not need to be told twice as she rushed to her boyfriend's side, who was struggling to get back on his feet and failing miserably. Hinata reached him and quickly slung an arm over him to help him stand up on his feet. Ari continued to look at her stubborn Kit. Even when his body was screaming at him to stay down, he just kept trying to stand up. Ari sighed before she looked up to the sky to see that the sky was a deep orange. Time really flies when you are having fun toward a training. She meant training. Yes, that was what she meant. She liked training her 3 kits. "Naruto," she called out to the blonde, who looked up to her expectantly. "It's getting late. Time to head back to Tazuna's place," Ari said. Naruto looked like he wanted to retort, but the look that Ari and Hinata gave him caused him to close his mouth. His body had reached its limit for the day, and it was time to rest. The 3 then made their way back to their unofficial home, Tazuna's house. Dinner at Tazuna's residence was lively as ever. Hinata helped Tsunami make dinner with Ari and Taiya helping pass the food along. It's been almost 2 weeks since the conversation with the 2 deities, and some things have changed. Ari had taken upon herself to train Naruto as a ninja. When testing Naruto's affinity, she was surprised to see that Naruto had 3 elemental affinities, which is a rarity for anyone to have when they begin elemental manipulation training. But this was Naruto, so she shouldn't expect any less. Plus, this might have been an effect from the Shinigami's gift. In terms of training, Ari mainly focused on his chakra control, taijutsu, ninjutsu, and fuinjutsu. She also assisted Naruto with his Sharingan, with Hinata assisting since she experienced in using a dojutsu along with the scroll given to help both of them. Tazuna wanted to contact all of the allies that Naruto made around the elemental nations, and tell them what happened to Naruto, which would lead them to break their ties with Konoha, but Naruto asked him to hold off on that. When asked, Naruto explained that if they break their alliance now, then Konoha would do everything in their power to drag him back into Konoha, whether he liked it or not. Worse yet, he might be brainwashed and turn him into their living puppet and use him as leverage against them. Tazuna and the rest of his family have to reluctantly agreed and held off of sending notices about deserting Konoha, but will inform them that eventually Naruto would meet with them to speak about his future plans, but that was when Ari decided when they were ready for it. "So Ari-san, how goes the brat training?" Naruto gained a tick mark on his head from Tazuna's brat comment, but otherwise made no rise. "Well, he still is a little sloppy in execution, but he is improving, if only slightly," Ari said as she enjoyed the look on Naruto's face. Naruto gained several more ticks and his patience was waning. Before he could retort, Ari began to speak again with an amused tone in her voice. "He finally has control over the Shadow Shuriken, Shadow Kunai, and Shadow Clone Explosion Jutsus, and he can finally perform the Rasengan with one arm. So that's an achievement, she said. Tazuna patted Naruto on the back, which nearly made the blonde choke on his food, with Hinata and Tayuya doing their best to help him swallow. Tazuna just continued to laugh until Tsunami smacked him across the head with a frying pan. Inari just smiled to all this in amusement. Ari-san? Tsunami asked after punishing her father. Ari hummed as she looked at the widowed housewife. How have the girls been in their training? Plus, what will Naruto-kun be doing next? Tsunami curiously asked. Ari scratched her chin in thought. The girls have been progressively well for almost 2 weeks. Hinata is improving her reserves and can now perform the kaiten with little trouble. Although the 64 palms is still a bit much for her, but I can guarantee by the end of this month she'll have it done. I managed to teach her the shadow clone and water clone jutsu, but she can only one for each and not at the same time. Tayuya has also been growing smoothly. I have increased her arsenal of genjutsu that she can perform them with, and without her flute. I even got her to learn the same jutsus that Naruto has learned. Lastly, she'd been learning about seals along with the kit. Naruto is around low to mid chunin. Tayuya is around mid to high jonin due to her being exposed to barriers and seals from Orochimaru. The one good thing that Pedo Snake did for her. Ari explained. What about those chains that Kushina-san used, Ari-nichan? Inari asked. That got everyone's attention. They all wondered Ari had not helped Naruto, and possibly Tayuya, to see if they are capable of using the chakra chains. From the memories they saw from Kushina, the chains would be a valuable asset if they are capable of holding the strongest bijou. Not to mention they have Kushina's scrolls on the chains. So what was the problem? The answer is quite simple. I am not sure if either of the kits have the ability to make those chains. While Naruto has a higher chance of having them due to his mother, his chakra control is still lacking. I need to improve his chakra control before attempting to see if he has the chains. Ari said as she looked at Naruto, who was looking back intently. You learning to perform the Rasengan with one hand was your first step in improving your control. I plan to take your control even further. When you reach at least low jonin level control, that's when we'll start working on the chains. Both of you, I mean. Naruto and Tayuya nodded, accepting the logic. Both knew they can't rush into this or they may cause permanent damage to their bodies. Healing factor or not, Naruto knew even he had limits to what he can recover from. Thankfully, thanks to the influence of Ari and Hinata, Naruto's patience has improved and he has been learning to keep his temper in check. This is especially was important to have when he got frustrating in trying to understanding his parents' notes on the sealing arts. No one ever said that learning seals would be easy. What about the powers the Shinigami gave me? Naruto asked. Ari sighed. Everyone was listening intently. Ari had mentioned before that she would enter the seal on occasion and try to figure out what the orbs the Shinigami gave Naruto. Ari nodded. Yes, I believe the Shinigami granted you something similar to a bloodline with one of the orbs. A very powerful one at that. But the other one is still a mystery. Do you know what the bloodline entails? Naruto asked. He was curious about the second orb, but knew its abilities will eventually be revealed when necessary. Ari nodded. From the scroll, the Shinigami calls it the Sky Release Bloodline. It complements your affinities for wind, lightning, and water. You'll be able to freely to manipulate, control, and absorb the elements without the need of hand signs. You can also combine the elements with one another. You can combine wind and water to form ice release, water and lightning to form storm release, and wind and lightning to form the swift release, and finally you'll be able to combine all three affinities, create and command all types of other patterns at will. Honestly, it's an appropriate bloodline for someone of the Uzumaki clan. Ari explained. Everyone's jaw just dropped at what they just heard. That had to be one of the most broken bloodline abilities they have ever heard. Naruto would be the equivalent of a god on earth. Naruto had stars in his eyes. This sounded like the bloodline expansion that he caught a glimpse of his in parents' notes. This will be perfect for him to help rebuild Yuzu and to fight off the Akatsuki, Orochimaru, the impending darkness that is approaching, or anything else that'll threaten his loved ones. Naruto got out of his daydream when Ari addressed him. Gomen, Ari-chan. Can you repeat that? Naruto said sheepishly. Ari just shook her head in amusement. Naruto, this power along with the other one will affect to your body. This got everyone slightly concerned. What do you mean? Will my body not be able to handle it? Naruto asked. Ari shook her head. It's more likely that your body will adapt and absorb the power the more you use it. The thing is that this may change your biology into something else. What exactly you'll become at the end, I am not sure. However, I can guarantee one thing, you won't be human anymore, she said. Naruto lowered his head in contemplation, while everyone else remained silent. No longer human. For years he had tried to prove others he was not a demon, that he was human just like everyone else. But as he traveled to other countries and saved them in some way, the people always treated him like a hero. Nami proved this when no one abandoned him when they found out he was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. In fact, they looked up to him even more. Now he finds out that to bring back Uzushiogakure and his clan, he may have to give up his humanity. No, that's not exactly right. Naruto shook his head. Naruto, I know this difficult, Ari began. No. Naruto cut her off. Ari just looked confused. What? She asked. You're wrong, he said. Ari now tilted her head. What do you mean? She asked as Naruto sighed. You say that if I accept these powers that I will become something else. Something that's not human. But answer me, Ari, what do you define as being human? That everyone gained a thoughtful expression. Is it having a mortal body that eventually dies? Is it a being that can wield chakra? A flawed species that is prejudiced to their own kind for the most pathetic of reasons? Ari and everyone else flinched at the last one. Being human can mean a lot of things, and each person has their own reason for following their meaning of that. Zabuza always believed himself to be a demon. A monster with no feelings of love or compassion, and yet he shed tears for the loss of Haku. A demon capable of shedding tears. You are proof as well. You feel guilt and shame for what happened to my parents. That mean that what matters is the heart and soul of a being that defines if a person is still human. No matter what happens, I will remain unchanged. Even if I become a demon or something else, I'll never let go of my principles. Everyone looked at Pride and none more so than Ari. Maybe he'll be the one. Alright, you've won me over. I'll help you master your powers to the best of my abilities, she finally said. So how long will the process take for me to not become human? I think the simplest way to say is that you'll become a Hanyu. Half human and half yokai, she said. This piqued everyone's interest as they have heard of many legends and folktales on yokai. What type of Hanyu? And how long? Naruto asked, generally curious on what type of Hanyu he'll become. I would say fox since I was the demon influencing your growth, but who knows? The power might change you into something else, based on the Shinigami's preference. Although you'll show signs soon enough. As for how long, I will say around 2 to 3 years. Depending on how reckless you are with the powers. Naruto just pouted with all the girls giggling at Naruto's antics. After dinner, Naruto asked Ari and Tazuna to stay behind to talk about something. I want to head to Yuzu tomorrow. Ari looked curious at her vessel. Why? She asked. I want to see my homeland, and we might find some valuable stuff there if we go digging around, he explained. Ari nodded, he was right. There would be plenty of valuable treasures left behind by the Uzumaki clan. Treasures that can help Naruto in rebuilding the village and bring in allies to the village. Alright, I agree with the idea. Plus it give us an idea of how long construction will take, Tazuna said. The three went to bed, with Ari going to the guest bedroom and not back into the seal, but for Naruto it was just the beginning. Naruto opens his eyes to find himself in an endless black void. What the hell? Where the hell am I? Hinata? Ari? Anyone? A dark chuckle filled the void. It's good to see you again, Hikari. It's been far too long, the dark voice said. Who are you? Show yourself to me, Naruto shouted to the void. The dark voice simply chuckled even more in amusement. So demanding, Hikari? But if you insist, the dark voice said. Naruto then felt himself be hoisted up into air by the collar. Naruto's eyes widened as he was face to face with an exact duplicate of himself. The difference being the twin had black spiky hair with red eyes and black scara. Who are you? His evil twin began to chuckle. You can call me Yami. I am your inner darkness. Yami began to tighten his hold on Naruto's collar, making lose even more of his limited air supply. What do you want? Naruto choked out. Yami's eyes gained a dangerous glint. You have locked me away for so long. I don't appreciate that. I don't know what you're talking. Naruto rasped out. Yami simply chuckled again. All will be revealed in time. But I'll let you go with this warning. Unless you confront your past, then you will never master that power. Naruto's eyes widened. Was he talking about the yokai power? Yami just smiled. Until next time, Hikari. Yami proceeds to snap Naruto's neck. Naruto woke up with a start. He looked out to see that it was still late at night. He turns to see Hinata in her sleeping gown. He sighed. His inner darkness, huh? Confront his past? Why can nothing be simple? His musings were cut when he heard some moaning from Hinata. Naruto-kun more. She moaned out. Naruto blushed, wondering what erotic dream Hinata was having. He gave her peck on lips before going back to sleep. The next morning Naruto had explained the dream to Ari. The Raven Vixen told him to ignore that until after their return from Yuzu. The group got a ship from Tazuna's friends and made their journey to Yuzu. The trip to Yuzu was rather long due to not knowing exactly how to get there even with a map and Ari's memory of how to get there. Hinata would blush as she looked at Naruto. Her erotic dream from last night left her rather heated up. Naruto saw this and would continually tease the girl, getting her a lot more aroused than before, and unaware he was drawing the attention of two of the other females on the boat. Naruto and company decided to take this time to work on some chakra control exercises. This went on for several hours until they finally reached the outskirts of Uzushiogakure, but were unable to continue to the island of Yuzu. The reason? There were several whirlpools all around the island, completely separating the island from the rest of the world. Everyone was shocked. How the hell were they supposed to get through that? Oh, come on! Can anything be simple for once for us? Well, this is just fan-fucking-tastic. What do we do now? Well, this plan went to the sit rather quickly. Bang! Two people were holding their heads from the pain of being hit once again with a frying pan, courtesy of Tsunami. Ari just laughed, and explained that Naruto needed to perform a set of hand signs that open up a path for them to go through. Ari then put one of her tails on Naruto's forehead as she passed the memories of what hand signs he needed to perform. Naruto then walked forward before jumping into the water, but not falling into it by using the water walking technique. He walked up close to the waterfalls, but stopped just far enough that he would not be swept in by the strong tides. He then begins a complex series of hand signs before slamming his hands on the water's surface. Uzumaki Secret Art, Pathway of the Seas Jutsu. At first nothing happened. Everyone, except Ari, wondered if Naruto did something wrong. That was until the water began to quake and the surrounding area began to churn. Then, to the amazement of everyone's eyes, the whirlpools began to disappear, until they vanished as if they were never there. Everyone just gobsmacked at the scene, before Ari told them they shouldn't wait too long and should quickly sail into Yuzu. It only took 15 minutes to get to the shores of Uzushiogakure. When they landed, they could see that the sand and vegetation was still growing and flourishing, as if time stopped and nothing had touched the land. Well, except for the several skeletons and remains that can be seen scattered across the sand. The group then began walking until they reached the withered gates that led to the entrance of the village. Everyone had trepidation about entering, especially Naruto and Tayuya, but they did not know what to expect. As the group entered the gates, the sight they saw was rather disheartening. The village was in complete ruins. Buildings had crumpled long ago with vegetation taking over. Many sections of the village had sunk into the sea due to time. However, the surprise was that there were no bodies anywhere. Which made no sense. There should be several remains of the countless lives lost when Yuzu was ransacked. The several craters and remains of scorch marks proved there was a battle here. So where the hell were the bodies? Ari then explained that many of the Uzumaki clan probably activated a special seal that destroyed their bodies so one could have their secrets, while also taking their enemies with them. Ari then instructed Naruto to make as many clones as possible along with Tayuya and to spread throughout the village and collect every valuable item that they could find. The group began looking around, marveling that many of the buildings that still remained slightly intact. They soon reached a large building that was similar to the Hokage Tower. Once they reached inside to find the place barely standing with holes all over the building and most of the roof had collapsed long ago. The group looks around trying to find anything that was worthwhile. Naruto separated from the group as he was drawn to a flight of stairs that was barely being kept together. He quickly went up the stairs before walking down a hallway until he reaches a room. Naruto enters a room that's very similar to the Hokage office. He looked around to see that the room was relatively still intact, minus the shattered glass and several parts of the room falling apart. He walked over to the table in the middle. The chair was in pieces and most of the drawers were gone. Naruto then notices something on the ground. He picks it up and finds out that it's a photo. He turns it and gasps at what he sees. A man in 60s with short, white spiky hair and beard wearing the traditional kage robes and hat. Next to him was beautiful red-haired woman with teal-colored eyes. The thing that drew his attention was the small 6 or 7-year-old girl in the picture. He recognized the girl, because how she looked as a grown-up and she had not changed much in those years. It was Kushina Uzumaki, his mother. Does that mean the two in the picture are his grandparents? He ponders if this is the last picture of all three of them together. He looks back at the ground to see a seal array on the ground. Curious, but cautious, he creates a shadow clone to release the seal in case of a trap. Thankfully no trap was sprung, but a letter did pop out. Curious, Naruto began to read the letter. Later on, everyone begins to worry about what happened to Naruto. After locating his position and carefully going up the stairway, they find Naruto trembling while he silently sobbed. Everyone grows concerned and are about to ask what's wrong when they see him clutching a letter in his hand. Ari slowly takes the letter. She turns to see Naruto clutching a photo, but focuses on the letter in her hand. She looks up to everyone and they all nod and Ari soon begins to read it. If you are reading this, then it means Yuzu has more than likely fallen to our enemies. We have all fought valiantly, but but it seems our time has come. This war has cost the lives of many in the battlefield, and in my home. So many of my brothers and sister I've had to bury, including my own wife. The only source of comfort I have is that my beloved daughter escaped the chaos. I pray that Mito will guide her with the time she has left, and the burden she'll soon carry. Kushina, my daughter, you were always my pride and joy. Yuza may fall today, but Yuza is not a place, but its people. Our brethren will scatter, but I know you will bring them back together. You are the future and our salvation, along with any children you may have. Good luck, my daughter, and never let the Uzumaki die with you. Love always, your father, Garp Uzumaki. Everyone had tears in their eyes as all the girls all tried to console Naruto until they felt something was off. Power was emanating from Naruto as he was soon enveloped in a black aura as blue lightning began dancing around him. Naruto had never felt so angry before. His family, his clan, his people. Everything that was rightly his was stolen from him. Naruto gave off a roar of rage and anguish. Lightning exploded off his body as he released a beam of energy into the sky. When everyone regained their bearings, they looked towards Naruto and were shocked at what they were seeing. Naruto was hunched over, but the changes to his physical appearance were very apparent. His nails had become sharp like claws, his hair had become wild and untamed with silver highlights, his birthmarks had become much dark in appearance, several parts of his body was covered in black markings. His eyes were slitted and glowed a menacing blue as lightning flew out of his eyes, and his teeth became sharp as his fangs protruded from his lips. However, the most shocking physical change were the dark wings that protruded from Naruto's back. They were multilayered and similar in structure to a bird's, but the wings seemed more scaly and had silver markings all over them. The other thing everyone noticed was the dark silhouette that formed above Naruto. It was in the shape of a monstrous quadrupedal creature with Naruto's wings. Everyone stared wide-eyed at this. What is that? They all thought, except Ari, who looked in shock at the silhouette. Of all creatures, the Shinigami chooses that? A creature of legend that could rival my siblings and myself in actual power and abilities. I don't know if I should be relieved or worried at the power that'll be in Naruto's disposal, Ari thought in awe and some arousal. Naruto continued to glare at the ground, feeling more anger than he ever had before. He had noticed the differences to his body, but paid them little attention. Congratulations, Hikari. You've unlocked a portion of the dragon power within you. But make no mistake, until you face me, you'll never master this power fully, Yami, Naruto said to him. Naruto paid little mind to Yami's rambling for the moment. He had bigger things to worry about. He turned to everyone with a burning gaze of determination. This will not be the end. This is far from the end. I will not their sacrifice be vain. My brethren, my clan, my people, my grandfather will not have died in vain. Yuzu will rise to glory once again. It took some time for Naruto to calm down and be able to retract the extra appendages and transformation. Ari said that he probably won't be able to use those appendages again until he more control of the power, and they can't ever rely on him always getting emotional to use that power. Hinata and Tayuya commented that they liked the wings. This got them kisses on the cheek, which caused the two to blush. Ari pouted that she did not get a peck on the cheek. However, when Naruto was about to give her one, she turned her head and Naruto gave her a kiss on the lips. Naruto moved back with his face red as Ari giggled in victory as she walked away. The girls, not wanting to be outdone by the fox vixen, each gave Naruto a kiss on the lips before walking away. Naruto just stood frozen before he regained his senses as he followed them to find more valuable items. The rest of the day was spent on collecting anything they could find, and planting a seal to allow them to teleport whenever they want without having to travel by sea, thanks to Ari. Although they will have to test it with a shadow clone to be safe. The group returned to find that someone was waiting for them. This person was a pale-skinned woman with dark purple hair and reddish-brown eyes. She had a rather voluptuous figure, and was wearing a long, revealing, violet dress, sporting a striped pattern. All the guys blushed as the girls minus Ari glared at the woman in envy. Hello, how may I help you? Tazuna asked politely. The woman smiled. I was sent here to help Naruto-kun, she replied. This caused everyone to perk up. Me? Not to be rude, but why would such a pretty lady like yourself want to help me? Naruto asked as he pointed to himself. The woman just smiled in amusement. Ah, thank you, Naruto-kun. You're as cute as I was told. She giggled, with Naruto blushing a storm, while Hinata and Tayuya were not the least bit amused. To answer your question, of course I came to help you. Why else would the Shinigami bring me here? She said innocently. That made everyone stiff as their eyes widened. She couldn't mean? Why you mean your Naruto stuttered out as the woman nodded. Yes, I will be one of the many allies that the Shinigami will bring to you. My name is Altair Milkovich. I am a half-blood or demigod to some. Daughter of a mortal and a god. I am the daughter of Medea, goddess of magic. And we have much to discuss, Naruto-kun. She ended with a lustful purr as he glopped Naruto into a hug with his head between her breasts. Tazuna glared in envy, Tsunami blushed as she covered Inari's eyes, Hinata and Taiya glared in envy and jealousy for the woman's figure, and Ari just giggled in amusement at the scene. Things were just getting interesting for the future Uzukage. The first mission of the seas. 1 month has passed since the young woman known as Altair came into the lives of Naruto and company. It had been a rather interesting experience for all of them. Altair explained that the Shinigami brought her to assist Naruto in his development and to help him and his allies in the recreation of Uzushiogakure. She also explained that the Shinigami may bring others to assist as powerful allies and perhaps something more for Naruto. This got Naruto and the girls, except Ari, to blush a deep crimson. What didn't help was Altair's chest bouncing in front of him as she teased Naruto. The blonde teen could do nothing but faint after the overstimulating image, which got a giggle out of Altair and Ari. Altair then explained that one of the things she wants to teach Naruto and the others about is magic. This surprised Naruto and the rest as they believed that magic could only be found in fairy tales. However, Altair explained that magic has been part of human civilization just like chakra. After all, chakra existed in everyone, and no one became a parent of it until Kaguya awakened it within her. Her sons then taught the rest of their followers how to unlock it as well. Magic works the same way. The biggest difference being that magical energy is created by absorbing particles from nature known as ether nanoparticles. Once a person's magical container is awakened in a person, they automatically absorb the particles into their bodies to replenish any depletion of their magical energy. There are also several types of magic just like with jutsus. Altair offered her vast knowledge of magic for them to use as they liked. Naruto and the others were ecstatic. This could really be useful for them, and could be a useful edge against their enemies. Each of them decided to learn some basic magic before getting into the more complex subjects. Naruto stated they should all put some focus on learning teleportation and telepathy magic. This intrigued everyone and explained that being able to communicate with everyone on the fly without interference and teleport to one another when there's danger will be a very important skill to have for themselves and for their allies. Everyone agreed to that logic and began to set aside time to learn telepathy and teleportation magical. While this went on, Hinata asked Altair and Ari for advice on herbs and other plants that could be crushed and mixed to make more potent healing herbs and poisons, which the two were happy to show her. Altair also gave her some books on water and wind applications in the medical field along with several others on human anatomy and biology. Hinata took this with great appreciation along with the other books and scrolls she borrowed from Naruto's collection that came from Yuzu and his parents. Speaking of that incident, ever since that day, Naruto trained like a man possessed. He continuously worked with his element and chakra manipulation along with getting a much better handle with his Sharingan, although he still had 2 Tomo. But that was a temporary setback for now. His efforts even left Ari stunned as he continued to pile all of the training regiments, and barely stopped until he collapsed on the floor from exhaustion. The overzealous determination helped him grow, and with his ability to create hundreds of shadow clones, Naruto's abilities shot through the roof. He had a much better handle of his elements, and could now perform jutsus for each of them. Although he still did not have the timing or skill to manipulate 2 of the elements together to create a jutsu, but he was getting there. His skills at sealing were now at low to mid-jonin along with his chakra control. This meant that Naruto and Taiya could finally start to learn how to use the chakra chains of the Uzumaki clan. The two were progressing quite well in the Vixen's opinion. They had also been studying everything they acquired from Yuzu, which seems to be a surprise after surprise. They remembered to set the whirlpools up again to keep unknown strangers out, while they used teleportation seals to send Tazuna and his workers into Yuzu to work on restoring and reconstructing the island village, and to return back to Wave. Tazuna mentioned he got in contact with all Naruto's allies and they all agreed to maintain their alliance for the time being until Naruto can get Yuzu off its feet. Inari was learning to gain access to his chakra system and also magic with everyone else. The most drastic change to Naruto was in his attire. All of the girls, with Tazuna's family backing them up, told him that the orange jumpsuit had to go for several reasons. 1. The thing made Naruto look like he just came from a prison asylum. 2. He only wore that suit in particularly because it was the only thing he could afford, and he wanted to gain the attention of Konoha, something he no longer desired or wanted. Finally, the suit made him too recognizable. So Naruto changed his outfit with suggestions from Altair, Ari, and Hinata. His new attire consisted of dark blue ninja pants with black sandals wrapped in red tape. On his arms he wore black arm warmers that reached just below his shoulders and were also covered in the same red tape. He wore a skin-tight, black tank top. On top of this he wore a black cloak with a white fur lining around the neck with a clear cape on his back that went down to his shins. The Uzumaki symbol was placed on the back and the sides of the shoulder. The final piece to the outfit was a white kitsune mask. The unique ability of the mask is that once placed on his face, his hair changed from sun-kissed blonde to jet black, basically Menma's outfit from RTN, except the cloak is not as long and the symbols are the Uzumaki red spirals. Needless to say, it was vast improvement if the blushes from Hinata and Tayuya, and sexy smirks from Altair and Ari were anything to go by. The last noticeable things to occur in the month was Naruto taking Hinata and Tayuya on a date. Hinata's date included a nice dinner before taking walk alongside the beach before sitting down to have a drink and toast to a bright future. The date ended with a very heated and make-out session between the two lovebirds. The date with Tayuya was nothing as extravagant. It was a simple picnic at the top of hill near a waterfall that gave a nice view of Nami under the moon. Naruto was going to give her a light kiss on the lips, but Tayuya, getting a bit impatient, pounced on Naruto and proceeded to give the blonde a very aggressive, but passionate kiss that Naruto easily returned. Now Tayuya joins Naruto and Hinata in the same bed. Ari didn't seem put off that she didn't get a date. She said she's a patient vixen, and when Naruto is ripe and juicy, she'll pounce on him. She ended it by giving Naruto a very wet and sensational French kiss before walking off, all the while giving Naruto a nice view of her plump ass as she swayed her hips. The scary/exciting part was that Altair was giving him the same predatory look that Ari before kissing him. All in all, it was a very productive month for everyone. We now find everyone enjoying some relaxation from their current activities. The air was getting rather chilly, as winter was fast approaching. Snow was an inevitability, so work was gonna be slowed down due to the weather conditions. Everyone was enjoying a nice cup of hot chocolate as they enjoyed the quiet evening. Tazuna had come back, exhausted from his hard work on the island. Normally restoration work like Yuzu would take years if not a few decades at least. But thanks to Naruto and his ability to create hundreds of clones along with their allies discreetly sending supplies, work was going at a much faster pace. Tazuna estimated that Yuzu should be restored in around 4 years. Though that's just the physical aspect. They still needed people to live on the island and have it financially back. But that can wait. They had plenty of time. They just had to take this one step at a time. Naruto was currently on the couch as he was snuggled with the girls, each taking a side and enjoying the peaceful tranquility. However, Naruto was cut from his musing when Tazuna called him over. "What's up? Something wrong with the reconstruction?" he asked. Tazuna shook his head. No. The reconstruction is going great, thanks to you and your allies. I swear, I will never understand how your village did not see that you're like a gold mine in getting allies. Naruto just chuckled. Yeah. You can blame that on their naivety, arrogance, and stupidity. Naruto replied and Tazuna nodded. Can't argue with that, he said. So what did you want to talk about? Naruto asked again. Well, one of my pals came back from his usual trip to the land of sea. The place is known for exotic items and its amazing fish. It's one of our best customers to trade with, and their items are usually at high prices in other nations. Tazuna explained. Naruto could tell something was off. I am guessing something has gone wrong, right? Yeah, my friend told me that recently, a lot of the fishermen and locals have been disappearing. The natives say this is the cause of some sea monsters. Naruto titled his head. Sea monsters? Yeah, they come from the depths of the ocean and grab whoever is unlucky to be in their line of path, and they're never seen again. Naruto looked skeptical at this. No offense, Tazuna. That sounds to me like some local superstition. What would interest me in this? Well, the thing is that around 10 years ago, a similar series of disappearances occurred. Naruto's eyebrow rose at this. So the two are connected? Tazuna nodded. I believe so. Especially after hearing this tidbit of information. Around that time, the locals said that a shinobi came to do some research on one of these islands. A ninja from Konoha. Now Tazuna had Naruto's attention to the story. According to the locals' descriptions, that ninja was Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes and the eyes of everyone else widened. Orochimaru? They all shouted. Yup, I couldn't believe it either, which is why I decided to take this more seriously and tell you about it. Naruto looked deep in thought. So if Orochimaru is behind these disappearances, what could he be doing there now? Tazuna and the rest shrugged. Naruto was trying to think of a reason of why Orochimaru would be back on the island, until he remembered something. You know, when I was traveling with Jiraiya to find Tsunade, I read through some of his journals and he recorded that Orochimaru had several hidden bases all around the elemental nations. This got everyone's attention. So, it's possible that Orochimaru has a base in the land of sea? Tsunami asked. Naruto nodded. But what could he be doing there? I mean, he has Sasuke, what else could he want? Hinata asked. According to Jiraiya's journals, he was always obsessed with gaining immortality to learn every jutsu in existence. He also had an unhealthy obsession with bloodlines, especially the Sharingan. So he could be experimenting on people like before? Tazuna asked in disgust. Naruto nodded. Everyone was looking at Naruto and saw a glint in his eyes. A glint they understood all too well. So I take it you want to go investigate this? Tazuna asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah, this is too good an opportunity to get a lead on Orochimaru, he said. Naruto-kun, what will we do if we run into Sasuke? Hinata asked in concern. Last time the two fought, they nearly killed each other. Then we do our best to ignore him. Sasuke is currently the least of my concerns. However, if we are forced to confront him, then we hit hard and swiftly. Anything that can slow down Orochimaru is a victory for us, he explained. Everyone nodded at this. Naruto then turned to the bridge builder. Tazuna, can your friend take us to the land of sea tomorrow? He asked. Yeah, just leave it to me, and you'll have a boat early in the morning. Everyone nodded before they all went to bed. The following morning, Naruto and his team were getting ready to embark on their journey. Naruto left a supercharged clone to continue working with Tazuna with the reconstruction. Tazuna was worried it would eventually pop, but Naruto said he pumped it with almost all his chakra along with some of Ari's. The clone also had preservation seals on it to keep it from disappearing for some time. Tazuna appreciated Naruto's participation in the restoration. Altair also left a clone in case anything happened, as she wanted to join the group, so they could all bound together as a team and as lovers. That last one got all of them, minus Ari, blushing, none more so than Naruto, even under his mask. Naruto looked behind to see his team. Well, more than just a team. They were lovers. They were a family. It made him sniff to finally have something like this. Especially after his horrendous team in Konoha. He turned to see Ari give him a gentle smile. He almost forgot that Ari was an empath, especially for negative emotions. He gave a nod of appreciation before getting on the boat. They bid their farewells to Tazuna's family as they began their journey to the land of sea. The trip itself was meant to take around a few days, a week at best. Naruto, Tayuya, and Hinata took this opportunity to do some light training, which meant working on their control to make sure it was in tip-top shape. The nights were rather eventful as all the girls took turns to cuddle with Naruto, which also came with some very heated make-out sessions. Although Ari and Altair would get way more frisky with their hands as they teased the blonde with their bodies. Thankfully, they never went too far, but their teasing was pushing Naruto's hormones to the breaking point. It was early in the afternoon when they reached the mainland port that trades with the land of sea. They quickly disembarked and wanted to start looking for any suspicious activities when they heard some screaming. All of them quickly rushed to the source and were shocked at what they were seeing. They were in the middle of the main market, and several civilians were being attacked by several creatures that looked like a cross between a regular person and some type of fish. Naruto then looked at the girls. Girls, you know the drill. Hinata and Tayuya, transform to conceal your appearance, and make sure to only take them down when you're alone with the rest of us. The two girls nodded as they did the transformation jutsu. Tayuya had black hair with silver eyes, while Hinata had blonde hair with golden eyes. Naruto nodded at the transformations. Now let's take them down hard and fast. Naruto then created a few clones before they all jumped into the fray. One of the fishmen was about to attack a young girl when it was sent flying back by a powerful roundhouse kick. The other fishmen and the scared locals turned to see Naruto in his masked disguise. I will give one chance. Give up and surrender, or fight and I kill you all. What will it be? Naruto warned. The fishmen decided to take a third option as they all ran as fast as they could and jumped into the water. One of the fishmen stayed behind and turned to Naruto. Naruto noticed it was Fish Girl with pale yellow skin with light green fish scales. She glared at Naruto before jumping into the water and disappearing. Naruto then turned to see all of the natives rushing towards him and shouting words of gratitude to him. The girls watched in amusement as Naruto was bombarded by the people giving their gratitude. Suddenly a middle-aged man approached the masked blonde. Thank you for saving my people, young man. Naruto waved him off. It's no problem, it was the least I could do. Although I did not expect those things so soon when I arrived here. By the way, young man, I must ask. Are you or any of your companions shinobi? Yes, myself and my companions are all freelance shinobi. This seemed to lift the spirits of some of the locals. Then please follow us, we could really use your help. They all began moving into the port's meeting hall. So, mister. My name is Hitode. Naruto nodded. Can you explain what's been going on here? It all started a few months ago, when many of our local fishermen began disappearing left and right. When we tried to search for them, we were attacked by those creatures. The group saw how many of the locals bowed their heads as they shook in their place in silent rage. It continued like this until they began attacking in broad daylight, and even attacking some of ships that enter and leave our ports. This has gotten very bad, because one of our trading ships that is constantly attacked by those things. Naruto could only look in pity. If things continued the way they are now, then this land will crumble. Look, I understand the distress you are feeling right now, and we are willing to help you settle this," Naruto said as everyone else nodded. One of the men scoffed. "How do we know we can rely on any of you? None of you look like much. Hell, you're wearing a damn mask." "I wear this mask to hide my identity from strangers. I won't trust my identity to people I just met, regardless of who they are. Plus, we are the only help you have, and if we leave now, how long will it be before you'll actually get help from one of the ninja villages? If they even send help at all." Hitoad and many others began to go on their hands and knees. "Please, we will reward you handsomely if you help us." But Naruto waved him off. He didn't need money, but this gave him an idea. "We will discuss rewards after we have helped you," Naruto said. "Can I ask for your name?" Hitoad asked. "My name is Menma Yuzuke's. These are my allies, you are Ari, Rina, and Kagura." Naruto introduced them. "Please someone take them to one of our hotel rooms." The group then went to settle in and work out their next move. Some time later. Later that night, Naruto was walking alone as he was enjoying the nice breeze with the salty air of the sea. Naruto heard something ahead and saw several kids throwing stones at a young girl on the ground. The sight filled Naruto with a large amount of rage as released potent amount of Ki as he shouted at them. "Hey you shitty brats. Cut that shit out." The children all went running in fear. Naruto sighed as he turned to see the girl looking at him with weary eyes. Naruto reached out to help her up, but the girl just slapped it away before slowly standing up and walking away. Her eyes. They looked like mine once upon a time, he thought before turning around and going back to his hotel room. As Naruto was walking back to the hotel, he felt a pulse. He turned his head to the side of a building. He narrowed his eyes. "I know I felt something," he thought before shrugging it off and disappearing in a shushin. Suddenly 2 figures appeared on the building Naruto was looking at. "Phew, that was close," one of the goons said. "We'll need to be careful with that one and his allies," said the other. Unknown location. "It's an honor to see you again, Orochimaru-sama," said a man in white lab coat. "It has been too long, Amachi," the snake Sannin said. Amachi then noticed a young boy next to the bandaged Sannin. "This must be the young Uchiha you have taken under your wing," Amachi said before he was bombarded by a very potent Ki from Sasuke. "I would refrain from talking to me. Trash like you should not talk so easily to your betters," he said in an arrogant tone. Now, Sasuke-kun. Don't let Amachi words anger you. Why don't you go and take some fresh air?" Sasuke calmed down before scoffing and walking away. "You must forgive Sasuke. He has a rather nasty temper," Orochimaru said in an amused tone. "I'm surprised that you haven't taken his body yet," Amachi said in confusion. He knew how obsessed the Sannin was with the Uchiha's body. So now that he had it, what was he waiting for? Orochimaru simply chuckled in amusement. "All in good time. I have waited for some time, a few more years won't bother me," he said. "But I thought your body only lasted for 3 years?" Amachi asked in confusion. "Indeed, but I have made several improvements, and now this body will last for nearly twice as long." "What wonderful news. I must tell you that I have also made improvements thanks to your gene splicing research you provided for my Kaima project. I must also thank you for the specimen you have brought me. Especially that boy. His body is simply fascinating to test. Although his rampages are a real nuisance. Yes, Yugo with his episodes can be difficult to handle. It's one of the reasons why I kept the boy locked up. He proved to be such a lovely specimen for my curse mark research, but I have no need for him anymore. Once you finish with your research, you can get rid of him." Amachi nodded. "As you wish. Tell me, what about the others you have under capacity?" Orochimaru asked in a curious tone. "The girls are resilient as always, the boy barely converses, and those clans are getting more mysterious, the more I research them." Orochimaru nodded. "I see. Well, I must thank you for the notes on the bloodlines and your own research. I'm sure it can be somewhat useful for me. When you have anything new on those clans, notify me." Amachi bowed in gratitude. "Thank you, Orochimaru-sama. Don't disappoint me and take care of those intruders. You have my word. Those fools are dead." The following morning on the main island, everyone decided to split up to ask the locals around the island and see if they can get any leads. It took some time before Naruto found a lead from a woman that has lived on the island for years. She explained how she and her husband left to fish near Demon Island. She had dived into the water and got a hefty catch, but when she returned to the surface, her husband was gone without a trace. This piqued Naruto's interest as he shelved this information for a later time. He then asked if there was a girl around his age with dark blue hair that wore bandages around her face, arm, and leg on the island. The woman explained that description matched a young girl by the name of Isaribi. She along with several other fishermen had disappeared some time ago, but she was the only one to return. Naturally, everyone suspected some foul play, but she never said anything, and this caused everyone to believe she was involved in the disappearance, and thus began treating her like an outcast. Naruto felt sympathy for the girl, but even he could not ignore how suspicious it was that she was the only one to return. In hindsight, he could understand the islander's reaction, even if he didn't like it. So Naruto asked if she knew where Isaribi lived, and she gave Naruto a general idea of where she lived. Naruto sent a telepathy message to Ari about his findings, as he went off to find the so-called monster girl. It took Naruto traveling for 30 minutes before reaching the outskirts of the island where Isaribi lives. As he walks on a rugged terrain near the shoreline, he spots a small house in the distance. He quickly sped up and reached the house in just under a minute. When he reached the house, he was greeted to the sight of Isaribi being bullied again, this time by some children that were throwing rocks at her. Naruto growled in rage as his eyes turned into slits as he released a potent amount of Ki that got all of their attention. The children were understandably very frightened, while Isaribi was shocked to see him again. "You brats have 10 seconds to get out of my sight. Now!" he growled. The children took the hint and ran away. Naruto then looks at Isaribi, who looks on in shock before her face morphs to one of annoyance. He goes up to her and offers her a hand, but she just rudely slaps it away again. Naruto sighed in exasperation. "You know, most would say thank you in this situation. I did not need your help," she said cynically. "Right, because you were handling the situation so well," Isaribi growled as she got up. "What do you want?" she gritted out. "I was asking around the island for you," Naruto said as he saw the girl glare at him with eyes full of anger and hatred. "Why? Did they tell you that I'm the monster girl? The bitch of the sea? Have you come to take my life to appease them?" she bitterly asked. Naruto shook his head. "My reason is because I want answers," he said. "Answers to what? Why are attacking and kidnapping fishermen on the island, and don't deny it? I know you were the one I saw last night. You wouldn't understand." "You're right, I wouldn't understand. I don't understand how you can hate being called a monster, yet you're just adding fuel to the fire by being the very thing you are hated for." "Shut the hell up. You don't know anything about me. How could you? You don't know what suffering is like?" Isaribi was suddenly bombarded by a very powerful Ki coming directly from Naruto. "I tread carefully with your next words. They could be your last," Naruto warned darkly. Isaribi gulped in fear. "I will give you this one warning. Either stop or I will stop you and your accomplices. Even if it means I have to kill you all to stop this." Isaribi stared at him in shock as he turned and disappeared in a black shunshin. Naruto reunites with his girlfriends before explaining his encounter with Isaribi. They understood his frustration, but told him that he should have kept his temper in check. Naruto nodded, which is why he left a clone to keep watch of her. They all decided to wait for Isaribi to wait patiently. Isaribi was secretly walking to some far-off location on the island. Unbeknownst to her, the Naruto clone was keeping watch of her. The clone followed her until it sees Isaribi go through a cave near the shoreline. The clone dispels to alert the real Naruto. The team teleport to the entrance of the same cave, and quickly go through it to find an opening. They come out to a shoreline with an exit to the ocean. They see at the top of the water was Isaribi, and another man. He was tall and muscular with round dark sunglasses covering his eyes. For some reason Naruto and Hinata felt like they should know this person, but shook their heads. "Looks like you were followed," said the man. "Sorry," she muttered. "We need to head back to base," he said. The two quickly jumped into the water and disappeared from sight. Hinata quickly activated her Byakugan to follow the two. "I can see them. They heading out into the sea," she said. "Great. How the hell do we find them now?" Taiya growled in annoyance. "I know where they are headed," Naruto said as everyone looked at him. He turned to them. "They are going to Demon Island, and that's where we are going to settle this." Demon Island, hidden base. Slap! Isaribi was on the ground, cradling her swollen cheek. "You stupid bitch, you had one job, and you blew it. Now we'll have to deal with these uninvited guests," Amachi growled. "I should get rid of you, or just leave you as entertainment for my men." Isaribi looked up with wide, fearful eyes as she began to shake. "However, you did bring me valuable info on the trading ships leaving tomorrow, so I guess I will let you off the hook for now." Isaribi nodded in gratitude. "Thank you. Now then, if you do a good job in killing these intruders, I might consider changing you back." Isaribi's eyes widened in hope at the prospect at being cured. "I will take care of them, that's a promise," Isaribi said as she stood up and walked away. When she was far from hearing distance, they all began to laugh hysterically. "You're one sadistic bastard, Amachi. You know that, right?" Amachi simply scoffed. I just know the best way to manipulate people to do what I want. Well, I should get in position for our little surprise, said one of the men. You do that, while I do some last-minute work, the scientist replied. Naruto and his team finally reached the island after persuading someone to lend them a boat. Hinata, do you see anything? He asked. Hinata surveyed the surroundings until she saw something that caught her attention. There's a cave entrance a few miles ahead, she said. The group trekked to the cave entrance and wandered in for a few minutes until they reached a fork with several different pathways. Great, now what? Taiya growled in annoyance. Hinata, any way of telling us which is the right one? Ari asked. Hinata shook her head. Gomen, all of these pathways are cloaked with chakra. So I can't tell which is the right way. So we have to split up? Altair asked, and Naruto nodded. We don't have a choice, he said. Naruto then creates several clones to take several of the other paths. Naruto goes on the path straight ahead, Hinata and Taiya take one other path, while Ari and Altair take the last path available to them. Clone Group 1 continued to trek the path they took. So far nothing has happened, which has put the clones on edge on how confident the enemy is that they'll win. Or they were dumb enough to not set up the security. The clones really hoped for the latter. The clone team eventually reached a door at the end of the pathway. The group quickly splits and surround the door at different angles. One of the clones activated the Sharingan to peer into the room for any chakra signatures. Surprisingly, there was no one in the room. The only thing the clone could see was a single chakra signature. One of the clones finally decided to barge in. Nothing happened. Naruto was beginning to wonder why they were underestimating them so much. Oh well, this gives his team an advantage. He looks around to see several machines and computer panels around the room with several wires on the floor and ceiling connecting to the tube in the middle of the room. The Naruto clones looked around the room and found several piles of papers left behind. The clones gave a quick survey at the notes written down. Blood and gene splicing? Bloodline fusions. Artificial breeding and bloodline implants. Kaima project. This has Orochimaru written all over it. These notes have some other people mentioned who assisted in his experiments. Any idea who they are? The names here are Amachi and Hiriko. One of those two, or even Orochimaru, is performing the experiments here. Anything on the tube here? Something about the Hozuki clan of Kiri. What? Give me that and dispel, demanded one of the clones. Soon one of the clones disappeared and the information transferred to the other clones and the original. Ability to turn their bodies into water using a secret technique exclusive to them. It looks like whoever is in charge here was trying to fuse this ability with his Kaima project, and from what we have read and seen, it's to turn people into some type of fish monster. That explains the demons and where the missing people went, said another clone said. Ho, this is an interesting development, another voice said. Naruto and the clones turned to the tube to see a person with violet eyes staring at him. The person gave the clones a faint smile. What's up? Another group of clones was slowly descending a flight of stairs in their route. They soon reached the end of the corridor to an opening. They all used their chakra to stick to the walls as they slowly trekked to the walls. They looked into the corridor to see several rows of bars going on for a bit with several men around each of the bars. This must be where they are holding their captives. Let's see if we can hear anything of interest, one of the clones said quietly. The clones then uses their chakra to enhance their hearing. I can't believe we have to beguard these fools. Just be quiet and deal with. Not like we have anything better to do. I can think of several ways to pass the time, one of the guards said. Naruto could hear a lot of whimpering and shuffling in the room. The captives were probably moving to the back of their holding cells. Why don't we have some fun with some of these females? They are quiet, the lookers. Yeah, especially those feisty redheads. You bastards even try to touch us, and it'll be the last mistake you'll make. Must kill. Morgiana. Karen. Calm down. Like hell, Anoka. Rika, I could use some help. Like those two would listen to us. We should just take our chances and take on the guards. You touch my Sochan, and I'll rip your balls off, your growled the girl from the room. I will not let you humiliate my clan or my sisters any further. Sonia. Sarah Fall. Please calm yourselves. Let me go, Akino. Same to you, Rainier. You bastards touch my daughters or wife, and I'll kill you. We won't let you touch those girls, you sick bastards. Slam. Shut the hell up, all of you. Need I remind you, fish freaks, that without us you'll be stuck like this forever. So shut up and let us have our fun, or you won't ever get that cure. Naruto had already stopped listening as he was now doing his best to keep control before completely losing it and slaughtering those bastards. One clone quietly moved in to get a clear shot at the goons. He took out a few smoke bombs. The clones discreetly rolled them into the room. The bombs reached the goons before they went off as they completely enveloped the room with dark violet smoke. "What the hell?" shouted one of the prisoners. "What's going on?" "Smoke bombs? We're under attack," shouted the guard. "Someone set the alarm," said one guard before getting his head pierced with a kunai. "What happened before another was killed from a slit throat?" Another guard fell. "Man," said one of the last guards before dying as well. The prisoners could only look on in confusion as they heard the cries of the guards. Just what was going on? Suddenly there was a large slam as the smoke cleared. There stood a masked ninja holding the last living guard by the throat. This gave the prisoners some sense of hope. Could this be the person to save them from this hell? Naruto glared at the guard with pure hatred in his eye. "You're gonna tell me everything you know about these prisoners and what plans you bastards had for all of them," Naruto said in a low growl. "Never. I'll die before I tell you anything," the guard said defiantly. Naruto merely smirked. "I knew you would say that," he said darkly. Under the mask, his eyes turned into the Sharingan. The Sharingan, while immature, can still perform very potent genjutsus. "Sharingan," Naruto quietly muttered. The guard's eyes became dilated as the genjutsu put him under Naruto's complete control. "Now tell me about these prisoners," Naruto demanded again. "The ones behind you are mostly those we captured from the village on the main island. Amachi-sama wanted to use them in his experimentation in his Kaima project to create an army of mere people." Naruto nodded. "Is there a cure for this Kaima project?" "No, Amachi never had any intention of curing anyone. He made the lie up to always keep everyone under his leash. They'll be stuck like that forever." This caused several of the prisoners to roar in outrage. "What the hell? He promised us. He played us for fools. How can we face our families like these? We'll be freaks forever. What about the rest of us? Yeah, what was gonna happen to us?" "Next question, who are in the bars behind you?" Naruto asked. They were members of clans that Amachi was interested in researching. Naruto tilted his head. "What clans?" he asked. "The first two clans were known as Styri and Leviathan clans," said the hypnotized guard as members of the two clans growled at the guard in hatred. "What did he want from the two clans?" he asked. Amachi wanted to research their ability to manipulate water, wind, and ice, the latter being used by the Leviathan clan. This got Naruto to blink. This was getting interesting. "Ice? Do they any relation to the Yuki clan of Kiri?" he asked. This got the two clans to look at Naruto in confusion. What the hell was he trying to find out? Sonia was looking at Naruto with distrust. Amachi had the original assumption, but later concluded they had no relation. The Leviathan had more capabilities than the Yuki clan ever showed from recorded documents. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked in confusion. "They can freely manipulate ice without hand signs and do it with some strange energy they're apparently able to absorb into their bodies." Naruto was very close to dropping the man in shock as his eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. Wait, is he saying the Leviathan and Styri clans use magic? No, I need to tread carefully with this. They may not appreciate me nosing into their business. Plus, I still have no proof to back this up. What did Amachi do with this information? Amachi was fascinated by this energy, and did research on how to generate or manipulate this energy. When that failed, he tried dissecting several members. What you see in the cages is what's left of the two clans. Naruto's grip on the scientist's throat tightened ever so slightly as growled at the man. He could see from the corner of his eyes several of the prisoners sobbing at remembering their lost comrades. "What about the other clan?" he asked. "The other clan are some redheads that come from the Uzumaki clan." "What?" he shouted. The original Naruto was going through the corridor he chosen as discreetly as possible. He soon reached a wooden door in a large hallway along his path. He slowly opened the door and peeked inside. He looked around to see nothing but rows of tubes inside with no one in sight. Naruto slowly went in as he looked around and examined to see the tubes were filled with what looked like deformed human fish-like hybrids. As he was about to touch a tube, the floor below gave out, revealing a trapdoor. Naruto had little time to react as he fell down the trapdoor. Elsewhere, Ari and Altair were being surrounded by several deformed humans. "Hey Ari, can you feel it?" Altair asked. Ari's eyes narrowed as she let out a low growl. "Yeah, these people have a corrupted version of senjutsu in their bodies. The worst part is that it's not in balance with their chakra and has caused them to go completely insane. Let's not forget those missing islanders that have been turned into those fish monsters. These guys, however, also have senjutsu implanted in them and have turned in mindless monsters. Meaning the only way to put them out of their misery is to kill them?" Ari nodded. "Yeah." Suddenly Ari felt Naruto trying to contact her through their connection. "Ari, can you hear me?" What's wrong, Kit? I found the prisoners, and I'm taking them out of the island. Have you relayed this message to your original? He should be aware. Okay. There's something you should know. Some of these prisoners belong to clans. 2 of which I think are able to use magic, and there are some girls that belong to the Uzumaki clan. What? Ari shouted out loud, surprising Altair and the rest. Ari dodged a surprise attack due to her distraction and quickly cut off the poor bastard's head off his body. Yeah, I was just as surprised. I'm taking them all out, along with another guy I found from Kiri. Okay, good luck, Naruto-kun. Please be careful. I promise, Ari-chan. Ari cut the link as she focused on the enemy in front of her. What's up? A curious Altair asked. Naruto's clones found the prisoners and is getting them out. Ari responded. Altair blinked in confusion. Why the freak out? He found 3 clans also being held prisoner. 2 of the clans he believes are magic users, and there are some girls from the Uzumaki clan. Are you serious? Altair shouted in shock. She did not think they'll meet any clans that use magic so soon. Then again, Naruto-kun seems to have kami-blessed luck when it involves stuff like this. Yeah, I was just as surprised. But we need to focus on our current issue. Altair nodded. Right. She said as the Sei duo continued the vicious beatdown on the mindless monsters. So your name is Suigetsu, and you want to resurrect the 7 swordsmen of the mist and be their new leader? Naruto inquired. Right. Suigetsu answered. And you want to find Zabuza's blade, since he was your senpai, and it was meant to be passed to you if he stayed in Kiri. Right again. And do tell me, how do you plan to do all this with Kiri still in a civil war? Suigetsu shrugged his shoulders. Hey, I never said it would be easy. But where's the fun of just finding them? That makes getting the blades more fun. Naruto was in deep thought. If he got Suigetsu to join him, he could get some info on Kiri. It could be outdated, but any info from a swordsman of the mist could be very valuable. The question was how to get him to agree. He knew of only one way of getting him to join, but he really was not a fan of the idea. But it was the only idea he had to convince him to join his cause, and this would speed his plans to honor Zabuza and Haku. What if I were to tell you I could give you one of the blades? Specifically Zabuza's blade, Naruto finally said. Suigetsu blinked in his tank. What? I can get you the blade, but I require something from you. What do you want? Suigetsu asked with a suspicious tone. The last thing he wanted was to become someone else's lab rat. Nothing much for now, but we'll talk later. Suigetsu thought about this. If he was being serious, then this could be his first steps to bringing back the 7 swordsmen. But how did he know if he could trust this guy? How do I know you're not pulling my leg? Zabuza's blade was used as his grave marker, and I know exactly where it is. Suigetsu couldn't see Naruto's eyes, but his body language and tone told him he was not lying. Well, going with him is better than staying here. Get me out and get me the sword and we'll talk, he said. Naruto nodded. Right, Naruto said before smashing the tube and freeing Suigetsu. At least you got boxers on. Naruto commented on the former imprisoned teen's appearance. Suigetsu snorted. That was my only luck being stuck there. Let's get out of here. Don't have to tell me twice. Who are you? Sona asked for the 100th time. This is not the time or place for this conversation. So would you please just get on the seals? Naruto said impatiently. While Naruto could transport small groups of people, large groups like this caused him to use seals to help him. Thankfully, he left a teleportation seals outside the cave in case of anything. Why should we trust you? Reina said. Naruto was getting impatient. Are you fucking kidding me? Would you rather become breeding sluts for that bastard Amachi? Watch you tone, asshole. You know nothing of what we have suffered. Do you know who you're talking to? Sona said in an arrogant tone. Sona was then bombarded by a strong ki that caused everyone to buckle to their knees. They looked to see the looming body of Naruto looking down at them as lighting danced around him. Even with mask on, they could tell he was pissed. Who the hell do you think you are? I go out of my way to save your asses and this is the thanks I get? Naruto was seriously getting tired of having to deal with people like this. He understood they've gone through shit, but did they really think that entitled them to say shit like that to him? Naruto would have said more if he was not insured by chains colored yellow and white. He turned his head to see 2 of the Uzumaki girls using their chains against him. Hey, don't yell at her, shouted Karen. Don't even think about moving. Those chains will hold you down, Anoka said. Naruto just sighed in annoyance before he released his own, silver, chains that broke the ones binding him. This shocked the red-headed girls to the core. You have sea chains. But that's impossible, Karen said. The only way you could have is if you are Rika began as Naruto nodded. Yeah, I am an Uzumaki. I am half on my mother's side, he said. But why the black hair? Morgiana asked. It's a disguise to make sure no one will recognize me. So why are you here? Akino asked, trying to be considerate to their savior. It was the least she could do. I came here to find the missing islanders and to discover more about Amachi's connection to Orochimaru. But you guys are taking my priority at the moment. Naruto then looked at them again. Now can you all please get on the seals? Sona and several others were still hesitant, but Serafal walked up to him. The two stared at one another in silence. Everyone watched the interaction with anticipation, wondering what will happen. I trust you, Serafal finally said with a smile. Everyone from the two clans looked shocked at her declaration. Nei-san, Sona said with disappointment. Sochan, if wasn't for Serafal began before pausing. She blushed as she did not know what to call their savior. You can call me Mema for now, Naruto said, noticing her dilemma. Serafal nodded in appreciation. If it weren't for Memakuen, we would all still be in those cages. This is our only chance out of here. So let's take it, she said. I agree with the girl. I'd rather go with him than stay here, said one of the newly freed mermen. Sona and several others looked between Mema and the ones on the seal before finally sighing in defeat. Alright, you win. Sona relented. Serafal smiled in appreciation. Naruto nodded everyone now on the seals. Let's go. That was the clone's last words as everyone was teleported out of the underground laboratory. I can't believe for such an obvious trap. The girls are never gonna let me live this down. Naruto stood up as two men fell down across from him. It was the one of the goons from earlier, and they were probably the ones tailing him yesterday. Looks like we have a catch. Too bad it's only one, but I guess we could share beating him to a pulp. Naruto glared as he flared his power, causing the two to falter a bit. If you are so sure, come at me. It will be the last thing you'll do, he warned darkly. The two shivered before regaining their confidence. You got quite the arrogance there. Reminds me of the Uchiha. Naruto growled. Arms stretched to grab hold of him, but Naruto jumped back. The other came behind and grabbed his arm. Naruto felt a small bit of his chakra being absorbed before he kicked him away. Now I remember these two. They were Kabuto's teammates in the Chunin exams. What were their names? Yora and Misumi, I think? Yora kept trying to grab him to siphon his chakra. However, he was soon captured by the legs by Misumi, who gave a cocky grin. Yoroi then grabbed Naruto on his head and began to siphon off his chakra, but Naruto barely felt anything. What the hell? How much chakra do you have? An incredulous Yoroi asked. More than you could ever understand, he said. Naruto was soon enveloped in an electrical current. Raiton electrical pulse. The duo of idiots shouted in pain as they were sent flying from the force of the jutsu. Naruto then made several hand signs before he began channeling lightning chakra to his hand. He then made a beeline for Yoroi. Chidori. Yoroi was dead the second after his chest was pierced by the Chidori. No, Yora! You fucking bastard! I'll kill you! Naruto empowered his kunai and shuriken with wind chakra before throwing them. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. Shadow Kunai Jutsu, Naruto shouted. Misumi managed to maneuver through some of the attacks, but still got cut by the rest of the kunai and shuriken. Misumi managed to get in front of Naruto as he wrapped himself around the masked teen and began to squeeze. I'm gonna make your death slow and painful, Misumi growled. You've got one chance to let me go or die a very painful death, Naruto darkly said. Misumi released an obnoxious laugh. Ha, you must be really losing it to say that, Misumi mocked. Naruto soon began to collect wind chakra into his right hand. I warned you, Naruto whispered. Futon, wind scar, Naruto shouted. Several sharp blades of wind erupted from Naruto's right arm as they tore through Misumi's body. The man had little time to react as his limbs were cut off and then his entire body was sliced into bits and pieces. By the time the jutsu ended, all that was left of the man known as Misumi was a giant pool of blood with chunks of the man's body scattered along the floor. Nausea began to fill Naruto as he stared at the gruesome sight before him. The stench of the raw flesh and spilled blood caused him to go over the edge as he dropped to his knees, before ripped the fox mask off as he vomited all over the floor. He continued to spill his guts for a few minutes before all that he could do was heave heavily as stayed on his hands and knees shaking. Near Naruto could vaguely hear something. Naruto, it sounded like a voice. Naruto-kun. Naruto was beginning to release. Someone was calling him. Naruto-kun. Naruto jumped as he recognized the voice. Ari-chan? Naruto-kun, are you okay? I don't know. What happened? I used the wind scar on an enemy. I see. I can guess it left a gruesome for you to see. Why? Yeah, Naruto choked out. He soon felt a warmth filling his body. It was Ari's chakra. Ari thankfully leaves a portion of her chakra inside of Naruto in case of any emergency, and she can manipulate it when necessary for Naruto. Naruto-kun, I know how traumatizing it can be. But you need to focus. Finish this mission, and then you can let yourself go. But please bury this for now. Naruto stayed quiet for a few seconds. He did not expect that much damage from his attack, even at low power. He was just planning to cut his limbs, not rip him to pieces. But was the alternative any better? What was he gonna do? Leave him on the floor without his limbs, or put him out of his misery? Regardless of what he did, the results would remain the same. I understand, Ari-chan. Okay, see you soon, Naruto-kun. Naruto then cut his connection with his partner. He needed to get up and save everyone else. Naruto sighed as he slowly stood up as he put his mask back on. He flinched as he looked down to see his right arm shaking. He frowned under his mask. He still did not have enough control over the wind scar, which caused unnecessary damage to his arm. Hopefully he regains feeling soon. Naruto then began to take out several explosive notes from his storage seals. There was some work to do. Tayuya and Hinata finally reached the end of their corridor. Finally, I was getting tired of all this walking, Tayuya said. Me too, Hinata replied. See anything? She asked. Only two. One is Isaribi and the other looks like that Amachi fellow. The girls then busted the door down. Ah, well, it seems we have some unwanted guests. Isaribi, be a good girl and take care of them. Why are you following this guy? He's just using you, Hinata shouted, hoping to get through to Isaribi, but she just shook her head. Like I told Menma, I have no choice. If I help him, he'll rid me of this curse. He won't cure you. He hasn't made a cure. He's just using you, Tayuya shouted, frustrated at this girl's stubbornness. She could give Naruto a run for his money. No, you're wrong, he promised, she insisted. Suddenly Ari and Altair came from the door. About time, Tayuya said in an annoyed tone. Sorry, we got preoccupied, Altair teased. Oh, more guests. This should be Amachi began before. Boom! An explosion rocked the cave as the nearby wall collapsed and out from the dust came Naruto. Menma? Sorry I'm late. Had to take care of some annoying pests. Ah. So you're Menma? I was expecting someone more intimidating. Amachi mocked. I could say the same to you, Naruto retorted. Give up, you're surrounded, Hinata warned. Amachi had the nerve to laugh. And why would I do that? I am close to my next scientific breakthrough. I can't stop now. Well, then you and your research can go up in smoke. Kai! Naruto shouted. Explosions could be heard everywhere as the cave soon began to crumble around them. However, Amachi seemed undeterred at this development. Oh, good job, but it will take more than blowing this island to slow my research down. Looks like it's time to relocate, come Isaribi. The two began to walk away. The team tried to stop them, but the ceiling above them soon collapsed, blocking them from following the duo. Let's go, we can catch up later, Ari said. The group nodded as they teleported out of the cave. Come on, we need to stop them, before they stop the next trading ship. And this time Amachi will die, Naruto growled. Hinata and Tayuya seemed concerned at Naruto's tone, while Ari used her mental link to soothe her vessel as much as possible. The team reunited with the freed prisoners. Naruto told them to head to the main island to reunite with their families and warn them about Amachi. Many protested as they wanted to fight, but Naruto said they have been through enough and to let them handle this. Before anyone could voice their displeasure, Naruto's team ventured off to take care of Amachi for good. They eventually reached the merchant ships, with most of them having been destroyed and sinking into the ocean. Amachi was pleased with the progress until Naruto and his girls appeared before him. Amachi simply sighed in annoyance. You're a stubborn group, you know that? He said. This time, we will stop you for good, Naruto growled. You seem rather confident. Isaribi and her Kaima form jumped out of the water and got between the two sides. Well then, before we begin, let me bring in a special guest, Amachi said with a sinister smile. Amachi then brought out a seal and opened to reveal a seal. Kai! Out of the smoke came a tall orange-haired teen in chains. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Yugo, the origin of the curse mark of Orochimaru. Origin of the curse mark? Everyone muttered in confusion. You see, Yugo comes from a clan that is able to naturally absorb natural energy into their bodies through their skin. However, it seems they easily susceptible to becoming rampaging beasts. Everyone's eyes widened, while Ari's and Altair's narrowed. Orochimaru was fascinated by this and studied Yugo, and using his own knowledge of senjutsu to create the curse mark of today. I'm sure you noticed some of the failed experiments in the labs. They lost any sense of logic. They were nothing more than insane beasts. Altair said. Amachi just waved her off. Science requires some sacrifice to advance. Naruto let loose a burst of ki and chakra. Enough. You have spoken enough for one lifetime. Naruto snarled. Indeed, the time for talk is over. You go. The restraints on the teen were released. He looked up at the group with a maniacal grin. Kill them all. Amachi said as Yugo began to laugh like a maniac. Ha ha. I hope you bastards are ready to die. Yugo maniacally screamed as his arms soon began to morph into a monstrous form with axes on the sides. Ari and I will handle Yugo. Hinata and Tayuya will handle Isaribi. Menma, take care of Amachi. Altair told everyone. With pleasure. Naruto said as everyone split off for their battles, leaving only Amachi and Naruto. Well, it seems it's just you and me now, Menma. Not for long. Naruto growled. Amachi just laughed as he took out 2 syringes. Allow me to show you the achievement of have I made with my own body. Amachi then stabs himself with the syringes as the liquids entered his body. Amachi soon starts to convulse as his began to grow, and his muscles began bulging. His skin became white and gray, his hands and feet became claws, a fin grew on his back, his teeth became sharp and serrated, his eyeballs became jet black. By the end of the transformation he looked like a 10 feet tall bipedal shark. Think of King Shark from the CW's Flash. Feast your eyes on the fusion of my Kamiya project and Orochimaru's curse mark. Naruto just looked annoyed. Why am I always facing people with a shark motif? First Zabuza, then Kisame, and now this guy. Did I piss off some fish god in another life? Ready to die? Naruto expelled some electricity. You first. He challenged. Naruto then dashed in a burst of speed and landed a haymaker on the Amachi's face. But to his shock, Amachi barely registered the hit. I thought you would have more to offer, he said in a disappointed tone before reeling his fist back. This how you punch? Naruto barely managed to dodge as the shark's fist slammed into the floor of the ship and destroyed a good portion of the ground around them. Enhanced super strength. Reminds me of Tsunade. Suddenly he disappeared again and reappeared in front of Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened at the speed before he was hit the gut by the enlarged fist and was sent flying into the ocean. Naruto-kun! Hinata shouted in concern. It's over, he can't win, Isaribi said. She got 2 heavy glares and growls from Hinata and Tayuya. Quiet you! I'm not the one tied down by chains at the moment, the hot-headed redhead shouted. She then turned to see Hinata looking on in concern before placing an arm on her shoulder. Relax, Naruto can handle this, she reassured her. But he's all alone. He has us, and we'll help him when he needs it, but he handled that giant piece of sushi. Ari and Altair already finished their fight and haven't done anything, because they know Naruto can handle this. Hinata nodded, but still looked on in concern. Naruto-kun is struggling, Altair said. Relax, I know my kid can handle this, Ari said. Meanwhile, Naruto had still not risen from the ocean. Come on, boy. Don't tell me all those threats were for boasting, Amachi mocked. Suddenly several dragons of water appeared and made a beeline for Amachi. Is that all you can hit me with? Water dragons? Amachi slammed his fist into the water dragon and caused it to explode. However, Amachi noticed something was wrong. His concerns were confirmed when he saw a number of gashes and cuts on his arm and forearm. What the hell? He was cut from his musing when another, much bigger water dragon slammed into his chest. He could feel several gashes ripping his chest open as he slid across the water surface. Before he could react, Naruto jumped out of the water with a sphere of chakra on his hand. Rasengan! The sphere was slammed into Amachi's chest as he was sent even further back as he sank into the ocean in a giant boom as the water rose into the sky. Naruto continued to wait to see if that finished the battle. However, that went out the window as he heard some chuckling as Amachi appeared on his feet again. I must say I underestimated you. That attack was quite damaging. If it weren't for my transformation, I would be dead. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the transformed scientist. How are you still standing? No transformation could be that powerful. You forget I used young Yugo's DNA in this transformation along with some of those Uzumaki girls. Their DNA came in incredible life force and an amazing healing factor. I can heal from any injury, so unless you got something that can disintegrate me, you have no chance. Naruto released an inhuman growl from his throat at that. This is the first time I actually hate my genes. I am going to kill this bastard for using my clan for his sick experiments, Naruto snarled in his head. Shall we continue? Amachi mocked before going through some hand signs. Suetun, water gun. Raitun, Zakar. The two attacks of water and lightning collided, causing an explosion in their arena. The two stared at one another, waiting for the other to make the next move. Just be honest, you had no intention of curing Isaribi and the others. You were just using them until they solved their purpose before you got rid of them. Don't deny it, since I got it from one of the guards. Amachi just scoffed. So what if I was going to throw them away? They were tools. And like any tool, when they are no longer useful, you throw them away and get a new one. Besides, Isaribi was just so pathetic. I had no intention of healing her or the others. I made up that little lie to her about a cure, and she's on her hands and knees begging me for it. Saying she'll do anything to get the cure. I wished I let my partners have some fun with her before now, and at least she would have been useful one more time. But oh well. We can't have everything, right? Isaribi was shell-shocked as she couldn't believe what she just heard. Everything I did was all a lie, she whispered in horror. Now then, let's get on with our battle. Amachi jumped into the water. Naruto looked around before Amachi came out and slashed Naruto on his back. Ack. Amachi jumped into the water again. Naruto tried to find him again, but he had cut across his chest for his efforts. This continued for several minutes as Naruto was cut and slashed again and again. Finally, Amachi rose up as Naruto was bloody with several gashes all over his body, and blood was oozing from the bottom of his mouth and down his mask, and the left eye piece of the mask was ripped off, revealing his eye. Amachi looked interested at what he was seeing. Well, this is interesting. You're an Uchiha. Amachi hummed. Your point? Naruto snapped. I thought all of you were killed off years ago. Reports have been greatly exaggerated. Well, this is interesting. First I meet that Uchiha with Orochimaru, and now I meet you. So Sasuke and Orochimaru were here. Oh well, less trouble for us. Now then, I've had some fun, but it's time to kill you. Amachi dashed at Naruto with his clawed hands extended to pierce his chest. Suddenly, a wall of water appeared in front of Naruto. Like that will stop me, Amachi said. Amachi pierced the wall and went right through Naruto. Ha, I win, brat! Amachi shouted in a gleeful tone. However, Amachi's victory was short-lived, as he could tell something was wrong as Naruto just smiled before turning into electricity. Ack! Amachi grunted as his entire body was enveloped in electricity. A lightning shadow clone? Amachi said in shock. Suddenly several clones jumped out of the water as they held on to him. Then another Naruto came out with his hands soon becoming coated in lightning. Chidori! He stabbed Amachi in his lower abdomen. Naruto then jumped before making a seal with one hand. Kai! Then all of the clones glowed before they all exploded in an electrical flash on Amachi. The deformed shark man was sent flying back from the explosion. As Amachi tried to stand, as his skin was swizzling from the burns he received from the electrical explosion. He looked up to see Naruto with most of his wounds gone. How are you healed? Amachi said in shock. Naruto just smirked under his mask. Thank my mother's side of the family along with some special gifts I have. Naruto teased. Amachi just growled. That won't be enough to stop me, boy, as he stood up. Naruto noticed there was still a noticeable hole where Amachi was pierced with the Chidori. Naruto examined Amachi's body as he saw electrical currents still going around his body. This gives Naruto an idea. Raitun, Zakaruga. The beam was similar to a regular Zakar, but it was condensed into a spiral beam. Amachi just laughed. That attack won't work. Suetun, water gun. The two attacks collided, but to the shock of Amachi, the Zakaruga pierced through the water attack and landed a direct hit on him. In the exact location where he was hit by the Chidori that was still open. He then felt surging pain as he felt his insides get electrocuted as the attack went through his body and then out of it. Amachi fell to his hands and knees. Even with the healing factor, he could feel the damage was significant enough to take some time to recover. He looked down to his lower abdomen to see the gaping hole still present. He also noticed electricity still going through him. Why am I still in pain with electricity? He muttered to himself. Then he remembered something about the explosion. Wait, the clones? Naruto smirked. That's right. The clones were charged with electricity when they went off. I hoped that you being soaked with water would increase the damage due to water being a huge conductor for lightning. But when it didn't do enough damage, I noticed some electricity remained and decided to use it to my advantage. The Zakaruga is a lot stronger than a regular one, and is able to absorb electricity to make itself stronger. Amachi growled. You planned this from the get-go. Charge me with electricity to get your attack to get stronger as it went through, damaging internally and externally? Amachi accused. Naruto just looked amused. Maybe. Now give up, or you can resist and I kill you. Please choose resistance. Naruto growled. Amachi growled back in defiance. Like I will lose you. I still have my last trump card. Come Yumebozu. Suddenly a giant blob of water came up from below Naruto. What the foo? Naruto was cut off as he enveloped by the blob. Naruto-kun! Hinata shouted in worry. What the hell is that? Tayuya asked in disgust at the creature. Behold my loyal servant, the Yumebozu. A water demon I discovered years ago that obeys all my commands. With him in the seas and this body I will be invincible. I will be king of the seas. Suddenly parts of Yumebozu began to be frozen in ice. What the hell? Suddenly chains grabbed Amachi by the wrist and ankles. Suddenly Sona and Serafall appeared around Yumebozu with Karen and Anoka holding Amachi in place. Morgiana and Rika appeared by Hinata and Tayuya. Then Sujetsu appeared out of the water and stabbed him with a sword he found in one of his open wound. Amachi coughed up some blood. What are all of you doing here? Hinata asked. We came to help. Rika responded. You ungrateful brats. We were on the threshold of a scientific breakthrough and this is how you repay me? Amachi asked in rage. Suijetsu scoffed. Screw you, Doc. You just saw us as lab rats. And it's time to pay. Suddenly an explosion of power got their attention. Yumebozu! Amachi shouted in horror. Naruto appeared in his dragon form. His body was covered in a black and blue aura as scales covered the visible parts of his body, but no wings appeared like before. Serafall and the others that had arrived were shocked at the transformation. He's using it again, Altair said. Hopefully he'll end this, Ari said. Suijetsu, Karen, Anoka let him go. This is my fight to finish, Naruto said in a distorted voice. The others were a bit concerned with Naruto and what he was asking of them. You sure, man? Suijetsu asked. Menma, we have him where want him. We can take him together, Karen said, but Naruto shook his head. Don't worry, I'll end this, he said. The three looked at one another before reluctantly moving away from Amachi. The moment the chains were gone, Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed before appearing in front of Amachi, and delivered a devastating haymaker to his fish face, and continued to do so for several minutes until Amachi had enough. I will not let end like this, he roared defiantly. The two began trading blows back and forth, but Naruto had the advantage. Naruto delivered a harsh fist to his gaping abdomen that made Amachi roar in agony. He clasped his arms and slammed them on Naruto's head, and the top part of mask broke off as blood spurted out of his head, and part of his hair turned blonde. Naruto staggered from the blow as Amachi was about to attack again, but Naruto caught both of his arms. Then Naruto looked at him with inhuman snarl on his face. Then the half-masked teen used an incredible amount of his chakra into his arms, and began to pull until... Snap! Squish! He ripped the arms right out of the arm sockets. Amachi wailed in pain as blood spewed from his body like crimson geysers. Everyone was left stunned at Naruto's brutality. Damn, Naruto is brutal, Tayuya said. He must still be pissed at what Amachi has done. Hinata explained. Damn, that is hot, Ari purred. Yeah, it is, Altair said. Naruto then coated his left arm in wind chakra. Futon, wind scar. Amachi's chest was ripped open even more. Blood oozed out like a waterfall and several organ and pieces of muscles and tissues were falling out. Naruto decided to end this for good as he began to concentrate. His chakra swirled into his right arm. He was forming a Rasengan, but was pouring more chakra than normal. Soon a Rasengan the size of a basketball was in his hand. That's a big Rasengan, Tayuya muttered in awe. This is the end. Odama Rasengan. The attack slammed into Amachi and there was a flash before the mad scientist's body was ripped to pieces and violent explosion of blood, guts, and gore. Naruto was breathing heavily from the large amount of chakra he wasted, and the damage taken in the fight. Darkness soon began to settle in as his senses were shutting down. The last thing he could hear as he was losing consciousness were the shouts of people calling his name. Still got a lot to learn, Hikari, Yami Naruto said. What do you want? Naruto wearily asked. Just to say congratulations. Those were some amazing kills, Yami complimented. Ruthless, painful, and sadistic. I knew you had it in you. I did what was necessary, Naruto retorted. Keep telling yourself that. You know deep down you hated them. You wanted to kill them. You enjoyed killing them. You loved it. Just like you wished you could do the same to all those bastards in Konoha. Yami then gave Naruto a demonic smile. I know you all too well, Hikari, he said. Are we done? Naruto asked in exasperation. Yami just sighed at Hikari's stubbornness. If you wanted to end, you could fight me. No, at least not yet. You can't wait forever. Maybe, but today is not that day. Whatever you say, Hikari. Naruto's world became black again. Naruto woke up to find himself on a small mattress. He looked to see all the girls around talking with one another. Hey everyone, he said softly as all the girls turned to see him awake. Naruto grunted in pain as they all jumped on top of him to glomp him in a hug. Naruto-kun, Hinata said in joy before smacking Naruto on the chest. Don't scare us like that again. Naruto nodded. What happened while I was out? Everyone is celebrating and rejoicing at the return of the missing villagers. Everyone even apologized to Isaribi for blaming her, although she keeping her distance and staying with the others. Naruto looked at Altair. Did you confirm? Altair nodded. Yeah. You were right, they used magic. Naruto began rising out of the bed despite the protest of the girls until he was leaning on the wall to stand. Let's go talk to them, he said. The girls were going to deny this, but knew how stubborn he can be, and decided to help him stand as they went to find everyone in the living room talking. Suigetsu was the first to notice them. Looks who's up. Nice to see you up, boss man, Suigetsu said with a smirk. Naruto smirked back. Likewise, Suigetsu. Well, who are you really? Serafal asked. Naruto sat down on one of the available couches. My real name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Wait, you're related to the Yondaime Hokage? An incredulous Sona asked. Naruto nodded. He's my father. That got everyone's jaw to drop onto the floor. Damn. Suigetsu summed up. Wait, what are you doing here? Why aren't you in Konoha? Akino asked in confusion. They were surprised to see the faces of their saviors darken in rage. Well, it went something like this, Naruto began before explaining how he was banished for the mission to bring back their renegade teammate, and for being a Jinchuriki. Everyone was left shocked and disgusted by Konoha's actions. The Uzumaki girls were especially pissed off by how their brethren was treated. Damn, that's some bullshit, Suigetsu said. Naruto nodded. Indeed. Which comes to my proposal. This got the clan's attention. Which is? Serafal asked. Join me and become part of my village. The new Uzushiogakure, he said. The Uzumaki girls were shocked to hear that he wanted to bring back their ancestral home. Your clans would be adopted into the clan and can become part of Yuzu as their royal pillars along with any other clan we can convince to join us, and Suigetsu here can create his swordsman group in Kiri or in Yuzu if he wishes once he gets all the swords. Everyone was in deep thought. This could be a new beginning for all of them, especially for some of the villagers that were still transformed. They were being offered to become part of something new. Something great. I'm in. You seem to be a gaggle of fun, Suigetsu said. I will join as well. I would like a fresh start, Isaribi said as several other mere people nodded. You have our support automatically with you bringing back Yuzu, Anoka said as the other Uzumaki girls nodded. Leviathan? Citri? Naruto asked as he looked at the remaining two groups. Serafal then walked up to Naruto before stretching her hand out. She smiled. We will join you as well, she said. Naruto smiled in return as she shook her hand. It seems the first clans to join have arrived and more to arrive soon. Battle of Lightning. Evil collects. Unexpected discovery. Naruto sighed as he laid on the grass as he gazed up at the morning sky. Now I see why Shikamaru enjoyed doing this so much. It had been around a few months since the new additions were made to his family, and everything was going well, all things considered. Most of the new arrivals adapted rather quickly to their new environment. The mutated mere people were welcomed with open arms by the Land of Waves. Since they couldn't reverse the transformations completely, Naruto suggested should make the most out of them. They easily became the best fishermen for the country, and could easily travel to Yuzu in minutes. Some of the ladies were easily taken to many of them. Isaribi was also adjusting to the new life. However, she didn't want to be just a simple civilian. She wanted to use her abilities to help her new friends. This led to her decision of asking everyone if she could be trained to be a shinobi. The other accepted her and Suigetsu along with open arms in the training. Now Suigetsu was a bit odd case to deal. The first thing he did when arriving at Wave was asking Naruto where Zabuza's grave was. Naruto knew he had to uphold his end of the agreement, and took him to the grave site. It was highly amusing to see Suigetsu's gobsmacked face when he laid eyes on the sword. I guess he still believed Naruto would backstab him, which in hindsight, Naruto could hardly fault him for not believing him. The biggest surprise for Naruto was that Suigetsu did not immediately run and take the sword from the grave. Instead, he walked over and slowly took the blade before chanting a few words. Before sheathing the sword and walking back with Naruto. It was the final chant. A way of passing the torch from one swordsman to another. Then there was Yugo. Oh boy, Yugo was a hassle, but not through any fault of his own. Due to his clan's unique biology, he would go out into regular episodes of rage. Thankfully, Ari and Altair developed a seal to suppress this bloodline until they help Yugo control those abilities without fear of going into a blind rage. Although they did give him the ability to switch the seals off when he is in combat. Naruto and his fellow Uzumaki sisters that had the chain ability learned to use them to restrain Yugo until he calmed down from his psychotic episodes of rage. Naruto had to smile when he thought about his fellow Uzumaki sisters. Karen was originally from Uzushiogakure and actually participated in the Chunin exams at the same Naruto and Hinata were. When asked why she didn't proceed, she explained that her team got killed in the Forest of Death and she would have joined them if Sasuke hadn't saved her. This started a small infatuation with the boy, but that died after hearing what he did to her family. She then explained how a few months after that her village was attacked and she was kidnapped. She later found out that the one that orchestrated the kidnapping was Orochimaru, and then she was sent off to that lab with Amachi. Lisbeth had a similar backstory, except she lived with her mother in hot water country. Although she never knew her father, her mother explained that he was not an Uzumaki, thus the pinkish hair, and where her skills with weapon forging and blacksmith came from. One day her home was invaded and that was the last she saw of her mother. Anoka explained she was an orphan and did not know much of her parents. They did leave her with some journals that explained her heritage and the legacy she has to uphold. She was working with some scientists to create the ultimate summoning beast, but the beast went berserk and destroyed the entire lab. The last thing she saw before blacking out was debris collapsing on her. When she awoke, she was caged by that bastard Amachi. Then came the Leviathan and Citri clans. Those two had the most difficult time adjusting to everything. Not because they weren't welcomed. The people of Nami welcomed all the newcomers with open arms. The problem was that many were still not very open to everyone due to the time they spent imprisoned. The most guarded were mostly the Citri clan, especially Sona, as she still had trouble trusting Naruto. Although thankfully her sister was more than willing to be the intermediate to bring peaceful discussions. Naruto was very much considered making her head of foreign affairs since she seemed to thrive in the environment. Sarah Fall giggled and said she'll do anything for her savior. That was another thing Naruto noticed. The Leviathan clan were gigantic perverts/flirts. Sarah Fall, Akino, and Rainier would flirt and tease him on a constant and regular basis every time he passes by one of them. Hell, they would go out of the way to sneak a peek at his body, and sometimes try to cup a feel somewhere. Hell, they somehow convinced Hinata and the others to help them. Needless to say, it left him twitchy for several days. However, Naruto noticed that Sarah Fall was a lot more upfront with her flirting and seemed more clingy to him compared to the other girls. Hinata told Naruto that she may have gained a crush on him. Naruto said that this could have been hero worship. Hinata retorted that there was a spark of genuine affection for him, but Naruto wasn't sure what to do, because he didn't want to risk both of them getting hurt. Hinata suggested that he could get to know her, and where this affection goes. Maybe she'll even become another harem sister, which caused both of them to blush red. The Leviathan clan consisted of Sarah Fall, Akino, Rainier, Barakuil, Shuri, Donasik, Mittite, and Kalawarner. While the Citri clan consisted of Sona, Momo, Tsubaki, Roswise, Saji. Naruto was confused by how Sarah Fall and Sona were sisters, but part of different clans. Sarah Fall explained they were half-sisters, having the same mother, but different fathers. However, that meant little to them as they acted like sisters. Although Sarah Fall tended to be rather clingy when it comes to Sona, much to the latter's embarrassment. They were a colorful group of people and Naruto could say he got along with everyone in both clans. Naruto sighed as he thought about the two biggest events that occurred these past few months. The first one was going to the village hidden under the stars and revealing a conspiracy being committed by the Hashikage. Apparently, the village was founded based on a meteorite the locals called a star, landed close to 100 years ago. It was through this meteorite that the village was built around. Later the shinobi of the village discovered that the meteorite emitted chakra-enhancing radiation and learned to harness it. It was the Shodame Hashikage that devised a training method that allowed his shinobi to absorb this radiation and gain supernatural levels of chakra. However, with this great power comes great risk. The Sandame Hashikage discovered that the chakra of the meteorite took too much of a toll on the user's body. Such overuse would cause the body to become corrupted and decay, which eventually would lead to the user's death. The Sandame would ban the practice of the training, but he would later be assassinated by a power-hungry idiot by the name of Akahoshi. Akahoshi wanted the village to be recognized as one of the great villages along with the other 5 and reinstated the star training. The guy was a power-hungry creep, and Naruto had no complaints in kicking his ass and ending the star training for good, which involved Naruto blooming the thing up to Kingdom Come. It was rather satisfying. In the end, several shinobi were saved from being corrupted by the star training, a tyrant was taken down, and Yuzu got a new ally supporting them. Next was going to the Land of Spring to meet up with Princess Kyuki. It was an interesting experience, to say the least. It was a fun reuniting with Kyuki and catching up with everything that's happened these past few months. Kyuki said that her country had been expanding its technology to encompass the entire country and not just near the capital. One showcase was expanding the railroad system so it passed through nearly every city within the country. This would decrease travel time of transporting goods between towns and increase their efficiency for trading. Kyuki and her top engineers were even thinking of allowing the trains to be used for domestic travels by the people, but there were some kinks to still work out on that project. The same can be said with the blimps that Spring had in inventory. Naruto was honestly by how far the land of Spring took their advancements. He still remembered how sore his legs felt from trying to outrun that damn train. So using them for transportation was an ingenious idea. Kyuki asked what is Naruto's plan regarding Konoha. Naruto explained that he'll leave Konoha alone for now. He did not have the resources yet to deal with that village yet. Once Yuza has risen to power, that's when we'll deal with them directly. Koike asked Naruto what will happen if Konoha tries to get him back. Soon or later, they may want to get their Jinchuriki back, something that disgusted Koike to no end. Naruto says he has a plan to keep Konoha off his trail for some time. After much talks, Naruto and the girls decided to relax for the time they had. Naruto was enjoying some time in the hot springs. That was until Ari and a few of the girls came out and joined. This got very bad for our blonde hero. Flashback. This feels nice. Naruto mused as he allowed himself to sink into the water. Naruto sighed in content. With how hectic things have, Naruto has not had a lot of time to rest and relax like this. I could get used to this, he said out loud. I agree, Naruto-kun. A smooth voice said. Naruto quickly turned and his face turned tomato red at what he was seeing. Standing a few feet from him were Ari, Hinata, and Seraphol. All of them without clothes with only a towel covering their modesty. What are you doing here? Naruto asked in a panicked tone. Ari merely gave a small grin of amusement. This is a co-ed bath, Naruto-kun. We thought you could use the company. That isn't a problem, right Naruto-kun? Hinata asked with a small blush. You wouldn't send us away, right? Naruto gulped as he saw the three girls give him those big puppy eyes with quivering lips. He knew that resistance was futile at that moment. No, of course not. You can come in and enjoy the bath as well. Naruto said in a nervous tone. Yay! The three girls cheered as they got into the water. Naruto stiffens as Ari gets right behind him. He could feel the warmth that was coming out of her body. I'm not bothering you, right, Naruto-kun? She asked. Naruto gulped. No, you could never bother me, Ari. He replied, but not daring to look back. However, if he did, he would have seen the gleam in Ari's eyes as she gains a small, seductive smirk on her lips. I am so glad. It means we can enjoy each other's company, she purred. Naruto shivered as he felt her blow behind his ear. You like that? Naruto gulped as he nodded. Ari then got closer to his ear. Good. I hope you enjoy this, she whispered. Naruto slightly jumped as he felt her hands get rather close to his thighs. Ari? He asked in a nervous tone. She hummed in question. Naruto tried to say something, but it came out as a garbled mess. Something wrong? She asked in a fake confused tone. I know not exactly, but Ari giggled at her vessel. Don't worry, I'll make sure you enjoy this. Naruto could feel her hands close to his delicate areas as he could feel himself heat up like an inferno. Naruto then felt two pairs of arms grab him. He turns to see Hinata and Seraphol looking at him with big puppy eyes with quivering pouts. Naruto-kun, we're here too, Hinata said. It's rude not to pay attention to us, Seraphol said. Don't worry, Naruto could make some clones to entertain everyone, Ari suggested. Naruto felt his entire body go red with Hinata getting cherry red with Seraphol getting a slight nosebleed. Really, Naruto? Would you mind? Seraphol asked in an excited tone. Can I get one as well? Hinata asked with a twinkle of excitement in her eyes. Naruto was getting dizzy from the girls' antics as he heard another voice interrupt them. Is this an exclusive party or could anyone join? Everyone turned and Naruto felt his heart pick up the pace again. There stood Kyuki with her hair in a bun with only a towel covering her body. Nonsense, of course you can join. The more the merrier, right Hinata? Ari asked as she looked at the lavender-eyed girl. Hinata squeaked before nodding her head. That's right. I don't mind, Seraphol said. Kyuki smiled at the girls before looking at Naruto. Naruto? As sure of CC course. Naruto stuttered out. Kyuki then got as she took a position in front of Naruto, as she enjoyed the warm sensation from the waters. All Naruto could just stare at how prime her body was. No ounce of fat was on her, but she had a slim, but firm frame. Being an actress must help her keep in shape. Kyuki saw Naruto staring and smiled. So Naruto? She asked as Naruto did his best to look at her face and not her body. About you taking multiple wives, Koike started as Naruto felt his heartbeat go up a few notches. Yes? he said nervously as Quirky gave him a sly smile. I was wondering if I could join as well. Huh! He shouted. All the girls giggled in amusement. Is it shocking? You are seen as a hero in this country, not to mention it's thanks to you that my eyes were open. Plus I will need to conceive a child eventually. Who better to help me than the hero of these lands? Kyuki then got very close to Naruto, with Naruto getting a near-perfect view of her cleavage that was squished on his chest. So Naruto, will you help me produce an heir? That was the stimulation Naruto could take, as he promptly fainted as all the girls giggled in amusement again. All in all, he had a rather productive meeting in Spring Country. End of flashback. Naruto blushed at the memory before he shook his head as he sat up to calm himself down. He then took out something from his pockets. It was a familiar dark blue handle from his mission to the land of tea. The Raiji no Ken. Apparently, the locals from the country found it and decided to give it to Naruto as he was the one to defeat Aoi. Unfortunately, the thing was damaged, so it could not be used properly yet. So Naruto's new goal was to learn about the seals used to create this weapon to understand how it works and maybe get it to function again. Unfortunately, that was easier said than done. He had no idea how the Nidaime ever created this weapon, as there weren't many mentions of the weapon in the academy or in Konoha's historical records. Plus, any mentions of its creation and design would probably be in the Senju compound in Konoha, but Naruto believes he can find a solution with the scrolls and notes from his parents and clan. Naruto! Someone called to him. Naruto turned to see Karen came rushing towards with a slightly panicked look. Karen, what wrong? Come quick! Suigetsu is being unreasonable, and you're the only one he'll listen to. Naruto sighed as he got up and the two rushed back to Tazuna's house. Naruto finds Suigetsu arguing with Anoka and Lisbeth while everyone else is trying to calm them down. I said I'm going and that's final, Suigetsu said. You idiot, you need to hear if Naruto will approve of this, Anoka said in an aggravated tone. Exactly. So you would stop thinking with your damn sword and use your brain for once, Lisbeth said as Suigetsu glared at her. Stay out of this, Berry-chan, he retorted as Lisbeth growled at him. Why you? Enough, Naruto shouted as he got tired of the back and forth. Now what the hell is this about? It all started about an hour ago when we found 3 men drifting near the shores. We immediately took them to receive medical attention. Thankfully, none of their injuries were life-threatening. Naruto nodded. I see. Go on. Well, we find out that they are from the Katabami gold mines in the Land of Rivers. The Katabami mines are one of the greatest mines in the Land of River, and one of the richest sources of gold in all the elemental nations. However, about 6 months ago, some hooligans called the Kurasuki family appeared. They came under the disguise of providing protection before taking over the entirety of the mines. Anyone that was against them was buried alive or outright killed. Well, that's disturbing on numerous levels. But I am still not following why you're interested in this, Suigetsu? Naruto asked as he turned to the white-haired swordsman. It's because of the guy leading this family. They said his name is Raiga, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, Suigetsu said as Naruto nodded. So that's what this is about. But how are you so sure it's the same Raiga? It's because they explained the weapons that Raiga used. Twin slim, straight double-edged blades with upper curved blades near the tip on both blades and another pair near the base of the blades. That description matches the Kiba blades of Kiri. Naruto hummed in thought. Come on, please, this is a golden opportunity, Suigetsu pleaded. We could use this as leverage for negotiating with Kiri. Not to mention I could possibly get some info on Kisame from Raiga. Not to mention, after hearing it, not helping these people would leave a bad taste in my mouth, Naruto said out loud. So Suigetsu drawled out. Yes, Suigetsu will go to the Land of Rivers. However, you're not going without a team. I'm going since you're vulnerable to electricity. We'll also need a sensor and a heavy hitter, Naruto said sternly before turning to Karen and Yugo. Karen, you and Yugo are coming with us, Naruto said in a firm tone. What? Several people shouted. Are you sure? Yugo said in an uncertain tone. He didn't think he was ready for an actual mission yet. Naruto nodded. Yeah, everyone is currently busy. Plus it would be good to shake the team dynamics a bit. Naruto then turned to his furry partner. Ari, are you coming? He asked in a curious tone, but the fox lady shook her head. Unfortunately, no. I want to see how far you can go without my help. Nothing personal, Naruto-kun. But I want to see what you're capable of. Naruto nodded. All right. Naruto then turned to his teammates for this mission. Get ready for a long trip, guys. Road to the Land of Rivers. It was a few days later that the 3 men were healthy enough to escort them back to their country. The trip was going to take a few days, but Rokusuke was adamant of getting back home as soon as possible to save someone by the name of Kenpachi who was buried alive when they left. Unfortunately, the man was probably dead at this point without any food or water. As they managed to get near a cliff connect to the mines, they decided to stop at a local curry shop. "Welcome, travelers, how may I help you?" the old cook asked. "We were hoping if we could stay for the night. We will pay you handsomely," Naruto said politely. "Are you shinobi?" she asked as Naruto nodded. "Yes, we are on a mission currently." "I see. Well, you are welcome to stay. Please sit down. I'll make some of my special curry of life. Karasher, get a pot of curry ready," she shouted to the kitchen of the restaurant. "Hi, Grandma," shouted a voice back from the kitchen. Naruto nodded in appreciation. "Thank you." The group sat down to wait for their meals before planning out how they would infiltrate the mines. "So what's the plan?" Suigetsu quietly asked. "According to the three men, we'll just a jog from the mines. So we'll stay the night, and then head early in the morning. Hopefully, we'll get some reconnaissance done, and from there plan out how we can take them out." "Agreed," his team said in unison. "Here you go, everyone," the old lady said as she and her grandson handled out the food. The food served was a black-colored curry that was boiling. Everyone looked rather nervous, even the stoic Jugo was sweating a bit. What exactly is this?" Naruto nervously asked. "I feel like I am going to die from this," Suigetsu said, which could actually be literal due to the biology of his body. "Or maybe something worse than death," Yugo muttered. "It CC can't be that bad, alright?" Karen said in a hopeful tone, although she was not being very convincing with her voice shaking. "Well, here goes nothing," Naruto said as he took a spoonful and swallowed with the rest doing the same. In an instant, all their faces went atomic red as their eyes popped out of their sockets. "Gah!" Everyone shouted as they felt their bodies were literally on fire. "Good Kami, that is hot!" Naruto shouted. "Who the hell could stomach this?" Karen shrieked. Suigetsu looked like a boiling puddle of water, while Jugo looked like he fainted from the curry. "Well, this was created. I met two shinobi that were training here for days. One of them collapsed near my doorstep and I tried everything to wake him up, but nothing worked. That was until my grandson Karasher, and I managed to create a curry that no one could sleep on. Thus the curry of life was born," Karasher explained as he came out of the kitchen. "Who were these Konoha shinobi?" Naruto asked in a curious tone, although he had a sneaking suspicion of who Karasher was talking about. Karasher smiled. "Rock Lee and Mato Guy." Naruto's sweat dropped at this. "Yep. It would be those two that could stomach this." Everyone nodded as Jugo awoke from his heat-induced coma. "Agreed," he muttered. "What?" Karen and Suigetsu shouted in annoyance and shock. "He's probably gone into the town by now," explained the other civilian as Naruto growled in annoyance. "That idiot, let's go," he shouted as everyone ran out of the curry shop and headed straight to the mines. "Graveyard near the mines?" "Hold on, Kanpachi. I'll get you out," Rokusuke muttered as continued to dig to reach the coffin that held his friend. "Is that so?" a voice suddenly said from behind him. Rokusuke jumped as he turned to see a cloaked man a few feet from him. He finally regained his bearings as there were several men around him. "Ah!" he shouted as he tried to back up, only to realize as he looked around that he was completely surrounded. "Looks like we're gonna have another funeral," said the lead cloaked man, Raiga. "So that's the mine, huh?" Naruto said as he looked down to several of the townspeople have to move several bags or carts of stones that contained the material for the gold. "I can't wait to get my hands on Raiga," an eager Suigetsu said. Naruto tapped his shoulder to keep him from jumping down and start slashing away like a maniac. "Patience. Karen, what do you sense?" "I can sense 6 chakra signatures. One is Rokusuke. The largest of the 6 has to be Raiga. Wait. I sense another signature with Raiga. It's a child?" Karen began, before asking out loud in confusion. "Huh. Never thought Raiga will have a kid," Suigetsu said in a stunned tone. "Where is the child exactly?" Naruto asked. "It looks like he's on Raiga's back, but the vision is blurry. Maybe a genjutsu." "From Raiga or the child?" Jugo asked, but Karen shook her head. "I can't tell." Naruto mused to himself. "What's the plan, Naruto-kun?" Karen asked. "For now, let's observe the activities. There are plenty of followers that we may not be seeing. So let's move. There are 4 signatures close to the mines," a childish voice said from under the hood of the cloaked Raiga. "Are they strong?" he asked. "Very," the child confirmed. I'll enjoy burying them." Raiga mused to himself as he moved into another location to greet his guests. "Move it, old man," shouted one of the cloaked men as one of the elderly workers fell to the ground. "This is terrible," Jugo said with a frown on his face. "Naruto, we've got to do something," Karen said as she wanted to jump in and save the wounded man. Naruto stayed silent as he watched the man get chastised by the cloaked man. "Naruto?" Karen shouted again. Naruto turned to look at her. I know, but we can't risk blowing our cover so easily. That would defeat the purpose of what we're doing, Naruto said in slight frustration before looking back down and growling as the cloaked man was kicking the old man. However, I dislike seeing an old man beating like that, so let's go! Naruto shouted as the four dashed down to the area below. Naruto quickly knocked the first goon out as it alerted the other four. What the hell? Said another goon. Who the hell are you? Suddenly the remaining goons were quickly dispatched by Karen, Suigetsu, and Yugo. Good Kami! The injured old man shouted in shock at what he just saw. Karen then approached the old man. Sir, are you? Karen started as she stretched her arm out to help the old man before the man slapped her hand away. What have you done? Listen, you need to beat me so that I won't get punished. Wait, sir, Karen said before the man began punching himself in the face. Forget it. I'll just beat myself up. The old man was about to bash his face in with a stone if Naruto had not grabbed his outstretched arm before he landed the blow. Hold it. I know about the Kurisuke family. We are here to help. Naruto tried to explain, but the old man was not listening to him. Suddenly they all hear a bell go off. They all turned to the direction of the bell. A bell? Karen asked. What does that mean? Naruto asked as he looked at the man. The old man looked down in sadness as tears began to fall from his eyes. It means another funeral has occurred. Every time that damn bell rings, it means that someone else is going to be buried. Poor Rokusuke, he said in a depressed tone. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he summoned several clones. Take the old man somewhere safe. Let's go, everyone. Naruto moved to the Kurisuke household to end this for good. I remember Rokusuke. He was so happy when I first came here and took down the magistrate, and removing all the taxes. He laughed so joyfully. He was truly happy seeing me. Ah, how I love funerals. They make me so nostalgic. Raiga preached to his audience as they lowered the coffin down into the ground. For our closing in, the child said. Raiga merely smiled in anticipation. Heh. More people to bury. What do you sense, Karen? Naruto asked as they hid behind a few large rocks. Rokusuke is in the coffin. But I am getting a foggy vision of Raiga and everyone else. Alright, move out, Naruto said as they all split off while Naruto dashed forward as he took out several smoke bombs. While Raiga and his men were finishing burying the coffin were suddenly enveloped in black smoke. What? Intruders! Several of the men shouted as Raiga disappeared. Naruto and his company easily dispatched of the minions with little difficulty. Karen used her sensory power to look for Raiga but was shocked when something seemed to be blocking her. Damn it! She shouted in annoyance. Everyone looked at her in concern. Karen, what happened? I wasn't sure before, but I can tell that the kid with Raiga or Raiga himself is screwing with my sensory abilities, Karen said as that made the other three get tense as they couldn't rely on Karen to find the enemy in this fight. Maybe the kid he has a special bloodline, Naruto warned as the others nodded. Soon a huge mist began to cover the area the four are in. Be on guard, everyone. Suddenly Naruto began to notice something. All of you get out of the way. The other had barely any time to move as lightning came down and struck Naruto. Up in his hiding spot, Raiga chuckled. Another person to add to the funeral list. Wait. That one we hit is still alive. The child spoke. Raiga looked to his cloaked back. What's that? Raiga turned his attention back to the area below to see Naruto without any injuries. How the hell are you still standing, let alone conscious? Raiga shouted in shock. Naruto gave an amused chuckle under his mask. That's my secret and for you to figure it out. Naruto mocked as Raiga growled in annoyance. Are all of you safe? Naruto asked using his telepathy magic. Hi, they all said. Alright. Stay in position using his Sharingan. He sees several enemies coming towards him. Naruto brings out two simple katanas as he charges them with lightning chakra. He charges at the enemies but he is shocked that his swords impacted a couple of boulders. Naruto was left dumbfounded. What the fuck? Naruto jumped back and then detected another two enemies to the side. He wiped with his swords again only to impact a tree. What's going on? Naruto, what's up? Suigetsu asked. This enemy is more dangerous than expected. Not only can they disrupt sensors, and put people in illusions that not even Dijitsus can detect or dispel. What? Everyone on his team shouted in shock. Damn. That is a broken bloodline, Suigetsu said. Naruto, any ideas? Here's the plan. Naruto then began explaining his plan to everyone. One in the middle. Another to the left. Another to the right. One on the bottom cliff. The last one is on the middle cliff. The child said as Raiga nodded. Can't have funerals for all of them. So I will have to make sure there is no trace of them left. Raiga said as he nodded to himself. Futon, whirlwind. A giant breeze blows through the mist, clearing the view for Naruto to see Raiga on top of the cliff. What? Raiga shouted in shock as Naruto stood there with an unimpressed look under his mask. You're gonna have to better than that, Raiga. Raiga blinked before he hummed in amusement. So you know who I am? Well, this will make things all the more enjoyable once I bury you. Raiga dashed downward in a burst of speed as his blades were coated in lightning. Naruto coated his own blades with the wind as the blades collided. Wind and lightning expelled everywhere. Ho! I see you're a sword wielder. Tell me your name? Raiga said with an amused tone. Menma Yuzuke's, Naruto grunted as held his position against Raiga, who smiled when he told him his name. Raiga got a giant grin on his face. Oh, that's a good name. I'll remember it when I have your funeral, Raiga said in an excited tone. Is that so? Raiga, former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Raiga glared at Naruto. Don't remind me of those dark days. Naruto scoffed. Too bad. I want answers and you're the only one I can get them from. Like hell, Raiga said as he applied more pressure that Naruto easily returned. The two moved back to give themselves some space for their next attack. The two attacks collided, causing a minor explosion. The two ninja dashed forward. Naruto tried a cross slash, but Raiga jumped into the air as he performed a double downward slash. Naruto managed to block it, but the sheer force caused the ground beneath him to crack and led to Naruto stumbling a bit. Raiga used this opportunity to slam a roundhouse kick into the disguised blonde's guts, sending him tumbling on the ground. Naruto winced in pain as he got up. Thunder Funeral, Feast of Lightning! Raiga shouted as a surge of lightning made a beeline for Naruto. Naruto having little time to react as he charged his blades with lightning chakra as he blocked the attack. A surge of electricity was expelled in various directions as Naruto struggled to hold off the attack. The force of the attack was slowly beginning to push him to the side of the cliff. The two continued to push at another. Something or someone had to give in. And something did. Naruto could hear something beginning to break like glass. He knew his blades would give out soon, so he needed to end this tug of war now. With one final roar of defiance, Naruto managed to finally push the attack back to Raiga, but it resulted in his sword shattering. Raiga managed to dodge the excess lightning bolts. Naruto clicked his tongue in annoyance as he looked down at his broken blades. Great, I have done jack shit to him, and I just lost my swords. Nice comeback, kid. Too bad it cost you blades. Raiga complimented. Naruto glared at the rogue Kiri ninja. Oh, I have a backup. Naruto smoothly lied. Now! Naruto mentally shouted. Raiga behind you! The child shouted. Raiga had little time to react as Suigetsu appeared right behind him and performed an upward slash that ripped apart Raiga's cloak. A rather large bag that was on Raiga's back went flying in the opposite direction. Raiga! The child in the voice shouted. Ranmaru! Raiga screamed in shock. Karen, get that kid out of the battlefield now! Naruto mentally commanded. Roger! Karen confirmed. Raiga then glared at the two. You're gonna pay for that, he growled. It's been a while, Raiga. Remember me? Suigetsu said as he rested his sword on his shoulder. Raiga blinked as he recognized the white-haired swordsman. Suigetsu. Still, the same brat as I remember. Raiga mocked. Suigetsu did not take the bait as he merely scoffed. Whatever. Now, why don't you sit down and relax so we can discuss? We got some questions for you. Have you seen Kisame lately? Raiga snarled. I hate that name with a passion. Same with the upstart Zabuza. Raiga growled out. Too bad. We're not leaving without answers, Naruto said as he joined Suigetsu. The three were about to face off when they felt a spike of chakra as they some unfamiliar voices shout. Dutan, Mud Spear Fall. One voice shouted. Dutan, Rock Avalanche? Another one shouted. Move! Naruto shouted as the last thing on his list of things to do, dying by mudslide, was not one of them. Raiga and the two ran as they tried to escape the two jutsus. However, Raiga was hit by a stray rock spear. Naruto quickly went to help him, but that left them no time to run as both were swallowed by the jutsus. Suigetsu barely escaped by the skin of his teeth. He looked around with wide eyes as he saw no trace of his boss. He knew Naruto would not die from something like this, but he still needs air to breathe, which he won't be able to do if he's buried under mud and rock. Naruto! Suigetsu shouted with no answer. He turned to see Karen running towards him. Karen, where is he? He demanded quickly. Karen wasted no time using her inner eye to look for the two missing ninjas. Her eyes opened when she found her targets. I see him. He's still alive, but he's buried under all that rock, Karen said. Tell me and Yugo where he is so we can dig him out. Karen was about to speak when someone said, I don't think so. The two turned to see a small platoon of IWA shinobi. The two glared at the man in front as Suigetsu got into an aggressive stance with his hand on his blade. What do you want? Suigetsu demanded. Simple. control of these mines. With them, we'll have a foot in the land of fire. The two glared at the man as they knew what this is about. So this is some grand plan to invade Konoha? The IWA ninja glared at Karen for reminding them of that village. Of course. Konoha embarrassed us with their yellow flash, and we will finally have our revenge. Suigetsu raised an eyebrow. While he knew IWA had some serious bad blood with the Leaf after Naruto's dad turned the tide of the war, they never tried this directly to take land from Hai no Kuni. The Sandaime Tsuchikage was senile and bloodthirsty, but not crazy. I don't recall the Sandaime being that eager for war. Even for revenge. What's his gain from this? Suigetsu asked. Whatever reaction he expected, it was not for all of them to start laughing. This put the two on edge. Is there something funny? Suigetsu said with an edge. The head ninja finally calmed down from the laughing before he looked at the two in amusement. Let's just say that our village is under new leadership. One that will bring us back to its former glory. Now hand over the kid. Don't lie. We have a censor too, and they know Raiga had a kid that had a bloodline that could disrupt our sensory capabilities and had incredible genjutsu capabilities. Karen and Suigetsu tensed as they waited for an opportunity to call Yugo to raise some hell. Why should we? Karen asked on edge. IWA ninja all looked unimpressed by Karen's bold stance. Pity. Well, the girl looks like an Uzumaki. I'm sure our boss would love to get his hands on you. One of IWA nin said with a lustful smile that made Karen's skin crawl. We're also searching for that Uzumaki that Konoha was stupid enough to banish. If we can get our hands on him, we can convince to join our cause in the destruction of Konoha and prove that IWA is the supreme village in all of the elemental nations. Suigetsu and Karen simply stared at the group of nin in front of them. This guy is a complete whack job. The head shinobi then looked at the two with an impatient scowl on his face. Now hand over the head, IWA ninja began to say, but... Boom! What the hell? A pillar of chakra rose from the rubble and out came Naruto carrying an injured Raiga. Naruto looked at the group, with rage clear in his hidden Sharingan eyes. Prepare to die. Naruto snarled. Several of the IWA nin were unnerved, but many were not the least bit intimidated. Let's see about that. One of the braver IWA nin mocked. Naruto just viciously smirked under his mask. We'll see about that. Yugo! Out of nowhere, comes Yugo with his arm transformed with a maniacal grin on his face. Ha 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 ha. Take this. Most of the nin managed to dodge, except for one unlucky bastard that was ripped in half. You bastard! Shouted one of Rock Ninja, angry that one of his fellow comrades was killed. Several of the men went through some hand signs Doton, Earth Dragon Bullet. They shouted as their jutsu combined to make an enormous dragon made of rock and mud. Naruto glared back at the dragon. Raitun, Zakuruga! Naruto countered as he fired his spiral beam that ripped through the Earth Dragon Bullet and pierced the lead user in an instant. Damn it! These bastards aren't greenhorns, one man said before his head was blown off by Jugo and his transformed fist. We need to ARG1 began to say before he decapitated by Suigetsu. Get the kid and the red-haired girl, shouted one of the remaining IWA nin. Like hell, you will. Karen shouted as chains erupted from her back and went straight for the enemies. One managed to dodge, but the other was unable to dodge as he was hit with a crystal ball before he was pierced with Karen's chakra chain. Everyone turned to see Altair standing a few feet from everyone. Nice timing, Altair. Naruto cheered as Altair giggled. Thank you? Everyone then turned to the last remaining IWA nin, who was sweating profusely. Shit, I need to get out of here, the man said as he turned only to see Naruto in front of him. Boo! The last thing the IWA nin saw was a fist slamming into his face and knocking him out. Raiga! Everyone turned to see Ranmaru kneeling near a mortally injured Raiga. Gomen, Ranmaru. This is the end for me, Raiga said weakly as Ranmaru had tears in his eyes. You can't die. Please don't leave me, he pleaded. Raiga rose his hand and patted his head. Don't worry so much. You'll be fine. Raiga then turned to see Naruto approaching him. He coughed up some blood before looking at Naruto. Can I ask you for a favor? He asked weakly. Naruto kneeled closer to Raiga to hear his last request. What is it? Raiga coughed. Can you look after Ranmaru for me? He pleaded as Naruto looked at the crying child before he looked back at Raiga. Naruto nodded. You have my word. Also, to answer your question from before, I have no idea where the bastard Kisame is at. Haven't heard anything about that fish bastard after he left the village. Naruto sighed. A dead end. Oh well. But I want to give you something. Naruto looked up and was shocked as Raiga weakly lifted his blades to Naruto. Take my blades. Naruto continued to look in shock at Raiga while the others were just as stunned. Was he really going to get another set of blades of Kiri this easily? Are you sure? He asked as Raiga nodded. Yeah, I kinda destroyed yours, right? I feel it only appropriate you take it. And I trust you more than this white-haired bastard. Raiga weakly mocked as he looked at Suigetsu. Screw you, asshole. Suigetsu retorted, although it did not have a lot of bite. Naruto slowly took the blades in his hands before looking back at Raiga. I will take them and treat them with honor, Raiga. Naruto promised in a resolute tone. Raiga nodded as he gave one last weak smile. Good. Those were the last words Raiga spoke as he finally passed on. Raiga! Ranmaru cried as he sobbed into the chest of the now deceased swordsman. The rest remained quiet in respect to his passing. After several minutes, Naruto got up and walked over the still unconscious Iwa Nin. Altair, I want you to help me manipulate this guy's memory, Naruto said as he glared at the Iwa shinobi. Altair curiously tilted her head. What would you like to replace it with? Naruto then explained what his plan entailed for Iwa, Konoha, Akatsuki, and the rest of the elemental nations. After the explanation, Altair had to giggle a bit before she removed his mask and gave Naruto a quick kiss to the lips. A devious plan, my future husband. I approve. Naruto blushed before hiding his face under the mask again. The group would leave a few days later after giving Raiga a proper burial. Ranmaru decided to go with Naruto and company as he had nothing keeping him in the land of rivers. The locals were eternally grateful and their daimyo was willing to form an alliance to keep in touch. Quite the successful mission, all things considered. Well, you guys had one hell of an adventure. Tsunami commented as she and the other girls listened to the team's retelling of the events. Ranmaru and Inari were playing outside the house. Yes, we did, Karen said with the other nodded. Well, at least you got something out of this, Ari said as Naruto unsealed the Kiba blades as he held the two in his hands. He could appreciate the master craftsmanship that was dedicated to creating these blades. Yeah. Though it will take some time getting used to these. Before anyone could say anything, the door was slammed open. Naruto and I. Inari shouted as he burst into the house. Naruto asked what's up. I just got a message from Grandpa. He wants you to head to Yuzu as soon as possible. He said he found something you should look into. Naruto nodded as he got up. Alright, let's go. Everyone quickly made it to the main island. They traveled to one of the sacred temples located in Yuzu to find Tazuna waiting outside. So what's up? Naruto asked as he walked to Tazuna's side. Tazuna grunted, come inside and you can see for yourself. When everyone looked into the shrine as they saw much progress had been accomplished in the restoration of the interiors. However, they quickly noticed something off. There was a stone pedestal mounted onto the wall. The odd thing was the wall itself. It almost looked like a door. Naruto looked at Tazuna. A secret passage? The bridge builder shrugged his shoulders. Yeah. That's what I and everyone else thought. We've tried going forward, but we couldn't get any further. It looks like it needs a blood offering, but even with Anoka and Lisbeth, nothing happened. So I was hoping you had the magic touch. Naruto then walks forward to the pestle. Here goes nothing. He muttered as took out a kunai and sliced his wrist over the stone bowl below. For a few seconds nothing happened, before a low rumbling could be heard as the pestle and the wall glowed a bright white. Everyone then saw as the wall was split in the middle as it opens inwards, revealing a passage with a flight of stairs going down. Well, this got more interesting, Naruto said. The group went down a flight of stairs. The passage was completely dark, but Ari provided some fire to light the way down. They continued down for a few minutes until they reached another door. Whatever is behind this must have been really important to go through all this trouble, Tazuna said as everyone else nodded. Everyone had to wonder what were the Uzumaki clan trying to hide down here. Naruto offered his blood again as the door opens to a rather large room that looks like some kind of sanctuary. There were 5 pedestals that were arranged in a pentagram, and each one had an item. The first was a broadsword with a blue handle with the curved yellow handguard. The blade had a platinum tint to it. The second looked similar as it was mainly blue and yellow with a silver blade. The third was a shiny gray blade with golden claws for a handguard. The one next to it looked like another broadsword with its primary color being blue and gold. For some reason, Naruto felt drawn to all the blades, but the biggest pull came from the last item. However, this one was not a sword, but a suit of armor. It was probably the most incredible suit of armor he had ever seen. It was pure white in color for the most part. The armor had several spikes coming out of the kneecap armor and the feet. The forearms had one spike coming out of the middle of the forearms. The helmet had a pale tan-colored mask with golden curved horns with 5 white horns coming out of the back of the helmet. Naruto felt a great pull coming from the armor. Like it was calling to him. What is this? Naruto asked in wonder as he continued to stare at the armor. Suigetsu was drooling as he looked at the blades and armor. He had to hold them. He was about to walk up to the blades when he felt 2 pairs of arms pull him back. He looked to see Ari and Naruto holding him. What's up? Suigetsu asked, which caused Naruto to blink in confusion. Why did he stop Suigetsu? It was like he felt compelled to stop Suigetsu from getting closer to the items in front of them. I would advise you, Suigetsu, that you not dare to touch those items, especially that armor, unless you want to be vaporized. Everyone looked at Ari, as she is rarely this serious, and the way she looked at the items. She looks as if she's seen them before. Or at least she knew about them. Ari-chan, do you know something about these blades and the armor? Naruto asked. Ari nodded. Yes, I have. I just can't believe it. They all still exist. I thought they were all destroyed when Yuzu fell. Ari, what are they? Naruto asked as Ari sighed before looking at the blades. The blades in order are Excalibur, Caliban, Ascalon, and Durandal. These are the celestial blades of Yuzu. You can say they are the precursor to the blades used in Kiri. Ari nodded. That's correct. Suigetsu just continued to stand there as he recovered from the mind-blowing revelation. These blades must be something special then, Tazuna commented as he remembered his close encounter with Zabuza's blade. The blades are very powerful and nearly indestructible. So no ordinary can stand up to them. All were created using special chakra-conducted metal. This means you can channel your chakra into the blades and it increases their cutting and piercing power. Not to mention, by using the blade, you can naturally manipulate your elemental affinities with ease. It's said only the Uzukage was found worthy of wielding the blades. With just one blade, you can level an entire army with ease. Control all four, and you can have an entire village bow to you. Holy shit! Everyone shouted. They never thought they would find something this powerful and hidden under Yuzu. Wait, if all that is true, how come we have never heard of it? Suigetsu asked. If something this power existed, why had none of the other villages mentioned these blades? The Uzukage would rarely use the blades, Suigetsu. They were only to be used for dire times for the village, such as an invasion or war. Besides, not every Uzukage could wield the blades. If Garp could wield the blades, I guarantee that Yuzu may still be standing today. Ari, what about the armor? Naruto asked. If the blades were this strong, then the armor was something else. Ari shivered as she looked at the armor, something everyone noticed. She gulped before she began. This is the white armor of Inferno. It was worn by Hariel Uzumaki, the first Uzukage. The power of this armor surpasses even the four blades. Whoever wears the armor could single-handedly take a village down on their own. If that person also had the four blades at their disposal along with the blades of the Inferno, then nothing in the elemental nations could challenge you, except for the Bijou. Everyone's eyes were very close to popping out of their heads. Good Kami, the Uzumaki were a frightening bunch. Which just makes their defeat all the more surprising. There must have been something else going on during the invasion. Everyone paused as they heard some snaps and cracks from somewhere. They all turned to the source and were understandably terrified. The source of the noise was none other than the Inferno armor. Somehow the armor got out of its pedestal as it began walking towards the group. Everyone was frozen in absolute fear at seeing the armor moving towards them. Ari looked at where it was heading. It was heading towards Naruto. Realizing what the armor wanted, she quickly got behind Naruto and began pushing forward. Ari, what the fuck are you doing? He whispered. Naruto, you're going to have to trust me. The armor wants you. Oh, so I am going to be sacrificial lamb? Ari shook her head. I promise that won't happen. Naruto looked at her for a few seconds before reluctantly looking at the armor as he began to walk forward. Everyone was whispering for him to stop, but he ignores them as walks forward as he and the armor stop as they meet in the center of the room. What do you want? Naruto finally asked. The empty holes of the armor began glowing an eerie white as he heard a voice begin speaking to him. You are the one at long last. I have been waiting for you, my liege. Far-off location in the land of Earth. In a forest miles away from the village hidden in the stones, a young kunoichi can be seen walking through the forest area. She looked rather injured with several cuts and bruises all over her body. The young girl was holding on to something in her hand. She stopped as she looked at the item in her hand. An IWA headband with a red sash. Water began falling on the metal piece of the headband. The girl gasps as she realized she was crying. The kunoichi wiped her eyes as she glared at the headband. She growled as she crushed the headband before dropping it to the ground. She then ripped some portions of their clothing before throwing them into the ground as well. They can't find me if they think I'm dead, she said before she began walking deeper into the forest. I will make them pay for this. Killing my grandfather, my father, my family. I will make them pay. She swore to herself. I will bring IWA back to its true glory, were her last words as she disappeared into the shadows of the forest. Tsuchukage's office, Iwagakure. That is my report, sir, said a familiar IWA shinobi from the land of rivers. The Tsukage hummed in thought. This is startling news. Contact Orochimaru. We need to inform him of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki's fate, the Tsukage said. Yes, sir, his secretary said as she left the room. The Tsukage then turned to his bowing subordinate. He stood up as he walked towards the kneeling shinobi. He then places a hand on his shoulder. You have brought me some valuable information, Gaku-san. Gaku bowed his head in appreciation. Thank you, Gaku began to say, but coughed out some blood as he looked down to see a bloody stone spear going through the center of his chest. He looked up to see the impassive face of his leader. WWY. He choked out. The Tsuchikage simply scoffed. While the information you have given me was useful, you still failed your mission to a group of unknown shinobi. One of them possibly being an Uzumaki. I told you and the rest before, I have a zero tolerance for failure. The man said before ripping the stone spear out of Gaku's chest and slicing his head off. The Tsuchikage simply sighed before snapping his fingers as two Umbu appeared and took the corpse away. He then sits back as he looks down at the village. So much potential but completely wasted. Not one, but two Uzumaki were lost. Such a shame, they have been such wonderful tools. I'm sure my captives would have loved to have met more of their extended family. I would have especially loved to see your face, Namikaze. To see the village you crippled, now have your son to use however they want. All because the village you gave your life for can't tell a child from a bijou. It's almost comical. Speaking of Jinchuriki, I'd better keep those two on a tight leash, lest they try to escape once they hear the news. The man then smiled. I wondered how you'll take the news, Konoha. Knowing that your Jinchuriki is now gone forever, and nothing to protect you now. Your days are numbered and I can't wait to see you all burn. What if Naruto goes to Uzushiogakure during Wave Mission? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.